Good, because we are live now. Hello.
Hello.
Sorry about that delay. Twitch hated me for like a good 10 minutes. That or it was Opera just deciding, nah. Just didn't want to like accept like Opera. I had been using Opera to log into Twitch for the last about a year actually.
Ah.
And it's just like, hey, you know, this is not a supported browser. Sucks to be you. Had to open up Firefox for a bit just before I could able to find a solution to get it to work. Yeah. How was your day then?
It's been pretty okay.
Just pretty okay?
Yeah. My grandfather's in the hospital right now.
Oh shit.
Yeah, nothing, hopefully nothing huge, but he is blind in one eye right now.
You have like a stroke or something?
No, it might be his diabetes. It might be a blood clot behind his eye, but
Diabetes can
I don't
make
think
you
it's
blind?
yes.
I did not know
Did you
that.
not know that?
No. No one in my family has diabetes.
I have, well, I say a friend. I know this guy. He used to go to school with him. He is blind in one eye, and he has a hard time seeing through the other.
Huh.
Because of his diabetes, because it does
Yeah.
degrade your eyes if you don't take care of it.
See, I've never been told that. I just got told it's a result of like chronically low blood sugar or something, and that causes other problems in the body. I was never told what the other problems are.
Oh, so, guy, to describe diabetes and like what it can do to your body.
Mhm.
First of all, I'm sure you know what diabetic shock is. It's
Yeah.
the part of diabetes that can kill you.
Yeah.
But it can affect your eyes. It can affect your kidneys. It can obviously affect your pancreas.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's where it is.
Yeah.
But it because of the fact that you have a hard time processing sugar because you're not producing your own insulin, it creates this slew of problems because sugar is needed for certain things like salt is.
Mhm.
And one of those things is your eyes.
Gotcha.
So when you don't take care of your diabetes, it can make you go blind. You can also, if you get injured on like the bottom of your feet, you can lose your feet. It's a whole thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Well, I didn't
That's
know.
you.
That was just something that's never been in my family. So, yeah.
What
We
a
have the
great way
other.
to start off the stream. Just a really depressing thing
Yeah,
that I
no.
know a lot about because a lot of people in my family have diabetes.
Yeah. You know, we've got other shit like my sister and mom have like some light levels of asthma. Like not to the point where I've heard about them having any attacks in a while. Just they can't breathe for a bit. But not like an attack level, just harder. And like low iron in your blood and shit, but nothing like that. Wild. How's the rest of your day besides that depressing bit?
I mean, it's like I said, it's probably nothing serious. This isn't. He's old. He's getting old, so
Body's running out of
sometimes-
warranty.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes old people just go to the hospital. Like
Is
I
this
said,
the
hopefully it's
one
nothing
like rich
serious.
uncle, or is it?
No, this is my grandfather who is does not make money.
Gotcha.
My grandfather who's been retired for like half of my life.
Yeah, sounds about right. What? Yeah. Anything else you want to shoot the shit about? Because we usually go for a lot longer than 8 minutes, but...
Yeah, I mean...
normally we find
shit.
something to go on for about like 15, 20, and then suddenly we're like, oh wait, we're halfway before the next ad break, let's finish this.
I mean, like... Just the thing I sent you earlier in DMs, the whole Da Vinci foreshadowing the fact that she just has a homunculus.
So wait, so is that in like a Da Vinci interlude, or is that?
That is her interlude. That is from one of her interludes.
And you just not done it till now? Because I think you did.
Yeah,
You got
I just
her.
had. Well, I mean, like I got her bond up like a few weeks ago, and then I didn't do it until now.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering because
But,
I was like, I know you got the bond
that
up before the summer event started, so
yeah, that interlude is from like before the Lost Belts.
Mhm.
So imagine you're reading that. You have zero context. Like well, imagine you've not seen anything from the JP server.
Mhm.
You're going into this completely blind. You have zero context to like whatever Da Vinci's talking about. She drops, "I'll make it look like my child self," and you're like, "Oh, it must be like an invention or something." And then you have the Lost Belts happen, and you remember back to Da Vinci's interlude. Oh my god.
See, that's sort of like I like a lot of things about Fate Go despite its problems, but like the framing of like you can't get interludes until you get the characters and until you get the bond up means a lot of good story beats that like vital for their characters or like other plot events that aren't like part of the actual singularities or events kind of gets buried and you have to like work to get to them.
And some interludes are just stupid. So like
Yeah.
you're like, nothing important happens in interludes, and you're like, oh, important shit is happening in this interlude.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Like necessary story beats.
Yeah, necessary story beats foreshadowing the entire second act of the like game, versus Van Gogh's interlude is entirely just Columbus and Caesar are trying to like write a bunch of biographies about servants in order to sell and make money once the world is restored, and they're trying to scam it out of Van Gogh, and everyone hates that.
I didn't realize Vaco had an interlude. Oh wait, yeah, just recently.
It just came out.
Yeah, well, I was gonna use my example of Ibuki Doji's interlude. I mean, like, not super important to the story, but like, you look at it, you're like, oh, this is just like regular type people horny for master shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, wow, this entire section's about how she met Kentoki, and then like they knew each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
No.
like that's
Also, vital
important
point of
Kentoki's
it, she just
story.
physically cannot see Shuten, as compared to like Castoria is just like she doesn't want to meet normal Artoria. Like
Yeah.
that's big character stuff we just never get told about until interlude. Small thing. You gotta have that unit and have them at Bond 3, I think, for Ibuki's, but which I should probably finish, but I'll get to it after a stream or something if I don't get lost in Baldur's Gate again. Yep. Right. Anything else you got up, or shall we go?
Not really, unless you want to hear more about like the medical stuff I know.
See, I get that enough from my parents. They're both doctors. Oh, my dad's retired, but you get it.
That is true. Both of your parents are medical staff.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. But
Both your parents are medical staff. You know nothing about diabetes.
I know nothing about diabetes because it's never been relevant to our family. I can tell you ER horror stories of like people who had their hands split open sideways in the Spock pose for my dad, or how like, oh yeah, like this one day I just randomly met, like walked up for lunch like, oh yeah, Adam, I know you, or hello, I know you, you met Bob, or your dad, Jason, or whatever the fuck his name was. I met him at the school. I met him at the ER. He patched me up. Like, there was a hole in my hand, like, straight through it. He just sewed me back together. It was great. And I'm just like, first off, that's not my name. You just scanned my ID card to get my money out of my school account. How do you misread that? Secondly, Why am I being told about a hole in your hand when I just want a banana?
Had a friend of mine call me a VTuber. Not really. The answer to that is not really. This doesn't count.
No,
I
right
didn't
now
pay
you're
for
a
this.
PNG tuber.
Case paid for this.
Yeah. So you owe me for I own you and that image now.
He told me to accept it.
Probably, but I'll refuse to look back at the actual chat statement and correct it, and I will correct it with the actual facts, and I will just say, I paid for it, therefore I own it and you. Makes it so much easier that way.
Really?
I also need to remember to clear the request queue, and then bam, let's go.
Oh, wait, shit. I opened up the chat on Discord and it was like, I can look back at this Discord stream. No, I can't.
You fool. Absolute moron. Utter buffoon.
I needed to open it up on my phone, forgot.
Anyway. Fuck, who had Natsuhi? Now that Velvet's
You did.
off on her birthday. Right,
You gave her vaguely British.
I know, I literally did, like, set all this up in, like, 5 minutes before we started stream, and I didn't actually do any warm-ups for it, so... Maria-chan, you mustn't stare so fixedly anymore. Come on, Battler-kun too. I'm worried about Kanon's condition, and I don't want to stay in a place like this any longer than I have to. Let's go back.
For those of you who missed it, Canon was just stabbed.
In the chest?
Very much stabbed in the chest.
Maria hadn't gone out with everyone else, but had remained in the boiler room. Thing she was staring fixedly at was probably not grandfather's body, but the demonic ice pick that was sticking out of his forehead. No doubt an irresistible item for the obsessed. I wrapped her on the head.
Hey, Maria, what's Beatrice after? Is it all of our lives?
You're Maria, remember?
Yeah, I was responding to something.
Oh.
Nope. Nope, fuck that. I'm not doing the laugh.
Come on.
Yeah, but you can do it. No, I'm having an off day with the laugh. Beatrice will revive very soon. At that time, none shall be left alive.
Well, yes, that is exactly what you said before, and that's not exactly funny.
No, I'd be right back.
Is your dog allowed to get in? Some people, geez, they can't tell their dogs, no, we're busy. We're busy streaming a video game about murder. Can't you be quiet for another 3 to 4 hours while we go through all this dialogue and get on tangents for 40 minutes about absolutely nothing? Because we have no actual focus on what we're talking about until we see the dead bodies on the screen. Like, oh my god, some people just... yeah, can't live with them, can't live without them. See, this is why I like my cats. They just like to hang outside and they don't bother me. They just walk up after, like, here, I caught a squirrel, and then just eats it in front of me, and I'm just like, oh. I'm glad you're alive and not getting, like, hurt by the wild animals or foxes that live nearby.
I get to go.
Well,
Step up.
so, I'm gonna...
Let me just, yeah, I'm just gonna stay deafened for a sec until, yeah, I don't want to hear any of his personal drama or have that bleed through. Just seems a bit rude to listen into, so... yeah. So I'm waiting for him to get back! Fuck. Okay, that I should have stretched that much. That actually... okay, that actually hurt. Okay, there we go. That's not so bad. Anyway, what was I going to say? Alright, so... You back?
Yeah. I sent you a name because my sister needs some help.
What
They're doing
in the
Antigone as a play.
goddamn?
They're doing Antigone as a play. That's a Greek name.
Okay. What does that have to do with me? Like,
well, you're also into Greek things.
like what? Not like what is she trying to get from this transaction? Like, you just sent me a name.
She's part of the chorus, and she has to say this name. I'll put it in chat too. Menoikius?
Menoikius?
It might be Menoikius.
That's what I'm thinking off the top of my head. Let me see if I can actually see.
Later.
Yeah, hold on. Let me see if there's like something that says how to say it. Yeah, I'm hearing Menoikius is how you say it.
All right.
So it was just
right
like
back.
she just did not know how to read that word and just said, "I'm going to kick down my brother's door and fucking go."
She walked into the house as I went to go greet her, and she's like, "How do you say this word?"
Just like that.
Yeah. Menoikius.
Menoikius. Okay. That works, I guess. That's everything.
Yep. Yep. All right, now we go back to here.
Unless you got something else you want to get distracted by.
Nope. How can you laugh at something like that? Do you think you're the only one who's safe? Why don't you feel like you're in danger? Why aren't you scared?
This is still
Beatrice,
you.
Yeah, I know. Beatrice promised me. She said that she's going to take me to the Golden Land. It's a wonderful place where you have no obligations, everyone's always together, and everyone is always nice to everyone else.
It's a world where my mom doesn't beat me.
Oh, yeah. It's also a world where her mom isn't dead. I'm looking forward to it, you know?
No, it's a world where she did die, she just had to get brought back, too.
Yeah.
So it's not exactly her mom isn't dead, but...
Okay, shut the fuck up.
No.
I'm looking for... Go fuck yourself. I'm looking forward to it, you know? That time will come very soon now. Laugh.
Oh, now we went from like evil face to just depressed faced. Okay. Just what kind of person is Maria? I only know what Maria was like 6 years ago when she was 3. She'd been pure and obedient, a good kid. This new Maria 6 years later and the Maria I knew didn't seem to fit together. Just who is she, this witch who calls herself Maria? To her, with her obstinate belief in witches, this series of unsolvable crimes is proof that witches actually exist.
I've got your picture. I'm coming with you, dear Maria. Let me in.
Every time something occurs that would be difficult for a human, it becomes a little harder for the rest of us not to believe in that witch called Beatrice. It must be an intense pleasure for Maria to see her relatives, who once firmly denied the witch's existence, start acknowledging her existence one by one. Is that why she's in high spirits? King
Maria.
Duck 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Thanks for the follow. How's it going? That is a... Well, I guarantee that's a name you just no one else is going to take, and you can secure it on every platform, probably. Yeah. Wow, that is
You should be studying, my sister. That's my sister. You should be studying your fucking script and doing your homework.
Don't study. Work through this murder mystery with us.
Don't be watching this.
Watch this. Keep watching.
I know your names. You just skipped through
I
all
know.
of that.
I'm too busy laughing at this. Stay with us, King Duck. Read your lines while I keep goading your sister to keep watching.
Don't watch this.
Please watch.
Not appropriate. Don't
How old
let
is your
Dad
sister?
catch you watching this. 16.
It's perfectly appropriate for a 16-year-old. It's just murder. I'm just gonna let that statement hang in the air for a second.
Until my parents catch her watching it and she gets in trouble. She's not allowed to watch anime. I'm not a narc, but you know.
You're gonna have to explain that one to me.
I will explain it when we are not public because it is very much a private matter.
Gotcha. I'll just put a note. I'll need to put a note down that I kind of gonna need an explanation for that because that's very weird to hear with no context. But go on.
Yeah. Maria, let me ask you this one more time. You'll probably answer the same way anyway, but I'll ask you just once more. Yesterday you were given a letter in the rose garden. Who gave it to you? Like I said, Beatrice. You still don't believe me?
Maria only repeated what she had already said.
Today on I Get to Voice the most annoying vocal tick in the world.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh god. Let's just.
Yep.
You back?
Yep.
Okay. Sure you're not gonna need to run off to deal with that again, or?
No, my dad's going. He was just letting me know.
Okay.
Yep.
Maria had met with the 19th person, the witch. Had that really been a 19th person, or had that been one of the 18 who told her to say otherwise? All that was certain is that Maria has been with the rest of us constantly, has always had an alibi, and hasn't done anything that would put her under suspicion. No, that's kind of wrong. We've already went through this, but no.
It's demonstrably wrong.
There's 2 points in time where she demonstrably had no one watching over her.
There is a large frame of time. I want to say about 2-3 hours.
No, there are two large frames of time when she was not being watched.
Do I think she's capable of murder? In that degree? No. Absolutely not.
But yeah.
Do I think she's capable of some creepy ass shit? Absolutely. This is a game made by the dude who made Higurashi.
She's simply overjoyed at being made Beatrice's messenger and is certainly not our 19th person. I think.
I think as he loudly stirs his tea.
Shut up.
Don't do it intentionally.
Any more comments?
No.
That's right. I wonder what was written in the letter we picked up in Auntie Ava and Uncle Hideyoshi's room. Aunt Natsu should still have it with her. And that was the scene change we were so close to last time.
Huh. We could have gone for like a few more minutes and gotten there.
Yep, we could have.
Oh, he's dead.
Yep. He is die. Yeah.
I mean, we did get the sound, which means that somebody's died, and that we need to go check the.
No, that's blood dripping sound. The chew thing was the death sound, or like someone being killed sound. The thing that came right before the blup blup blup.
Yeah, I mean like the change in like the character description.
Was that there last time? Or I thought it just grayed out.
Yeah, that's been there every single time.
No, he wasn't fully dead yet. That it wasn't fully changed yet. We just kept going with it.
When this changes, it plays the dripping sound.
In the end, Kanon-kun did not regain consciousness. Even though Dr. Najo and the rest did all they could to heal him, there was very little that could be done on an island like this without medicine or proper facilities. However, Kanon-kun was the only human ever to confront the culprit. If only he could be given he could have given us some kind of clue. But by the time he was carried here, it was already too late.
My sincere apologies. Without proper facilities, there was nothing I could do but such a serious wound.
No, that is perfectly understandable. Thank you so much for giving it your very best. Dr. Nanjo's shirt had been sprayed with a violent spurt of blood, so it was easy to imagine the devotion with which he tried to save Kanon-kun's life, up until the very last second. Jessica was crouched in the corner, crying in anguish. She had probably been taking care of Kanon-kun until the moment of his death. George and Iki tried to approach her with words of comfort, but when George pushed him away, he stopped trying to interfere. What?
When Jessica pushed him away.
Yeah, I said when she pushed him away, but...
Anyways.
But when she pushed him away, he stopped trying to interfere and left her alone. Oh fuck, let me check. If only I hadn't let Kanon-san go alone. Oh.
Don't let it bother you. Even if we had been with him, you may have been attacked as well. He foolishly jumped forward and paid for his mistake. Wow, that's a cold way to look at somebody who just died.
How can you say it like that? Kanon-kun spotted the killer and bravely stood up to him. If only Kumasawa-san had gone with him, the killer might have hesitated and chosen to run away. Emotion-filled words that I'd never thought I'd hear from the normally tactful Jessica tumbled out of her mouth.
I understand where she's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely could take a 16-year-old boy and an old lady by myself.
So you could take them, huh? In combat or...
Combat.
In combat, right?
In a straight-up fight, I could take an old lady and a 16-year-old.
Right, so we're adding you to the list of suspects. Gotcha. You know, what were you doing on the night of October 5th, 1986?
Let's see, my dad would have been 7 years old. So not a whole lot.
But not enough to completely rule you out. Kumasawa, looking truly sorry, could not do anything but hang her head.
Jessica.
Now isn't the time for words. Even if I feel as if, and you're probably the same, as if I don't have the first clue what's going on anymore. As if my heart's going to split open. There were tears in George and Iki's eyes again. Seeing Jessica break down...
Poor man.
He's gone through so much shit, he's still gonna have to light up to die based on your list. Hold on, who was left alive? Natsuhi, Battler, and Maria. Yeah, so George is still gonna fucking die. So... George is gonna die, but if we want to make him go through more shit, Jessica's gonna die before him while he watches. And just to strike that hammer home and further. But... There were tears in George and Iki's eyes again. Seeing Jessica break down, crying, probably brought back the pain of losing his own parents. I had already cried myself dry, so I didn't want to cry anymore. However, I felt myself the pain in their hearts. That's a bit awkwardly phrased, but it still makes sense.
It's all right, Jessica Oni-chan. You'll be able to meet Kanon again soon. That's fucked up to say.
Well, she's about to hit a child.
What a fucked up child.
Stop it! You aren't helping!
You aren't helping. Case says, trying to sound like he's crying, but demonstrably laughing.
Crying, laughter, they're about the same, right?
Beatrice will revive the dead and even the love they possessed. So you'll definitely be able to meet him soon. Fucking. Then everyone will be able to live in peace.
This Beatrice, who you say gave you that letter yesterday, is she the one who killed Kanon-kun?
Hey,
Where is she? Where is she hiding? I'll find her and tear her limb from limb. Say it! You know, don't you? You know who the killer really is. What do you know and what are you hiding? Tell me! Damn it! Stop hitting the girl.
Milady, please stop. Good God, you've killed her.
Ew. Ew.
Not even trying to like give
Beatrice
any emotion to the
No,
Like-
because I don't think this child feels things.
You can demonstrably see like pain on her face right there as she's getting hit. One thing you do know, she knows when she's getting hit. That's something you can at least guarantee.
Oh yeah, because the sound is more meaty.
Exists.
I'm not
Don't
being
send
loud
the
because I don't
Pog
want to.
emote as we're talking about hitting children. Richie. Hi, TKJ. How's it going?
On my personal favorite. It doesn't pick up on the mic too much, but I can do a very convincing car.
No, not in the slightest real, but.
Doing.
Damn it! Let go of me, Genji-san! Muya knows who the killer is, and she's been hiding it on purpose! She must be telling them what we're doing, guiding them to kill us!
He is 9.
Jessica, be silent! Jessica rushed at Muya and grabbed a hold of her. Genji tried to stop her, but Jessica could not be calmed. The next thing I heard was the sound of Aunt Natsuhi slapping Jessica's face. After that, only Jessica's sorrowful, sobbing voice resounded throughout the hall.
Well, that escalated quickly.
Maria-chan, I know that there's no way you're one of the culprits. You have been with us since the beginning. There's no time for you to communicate with any killer. So, I want you to tell me something. This Beatrice who handed you the letter yesterday, who was she? Although the words seemed kind, they clearly showed that George still had some doubts about Maria. He hadn't tackled Maria. However, he felt exactly the same way Jessica did.
Aniki. I asked her the same thing only just now. The answer won't be any different.
I want to hear it from Maria-chan's mouth. Who is Beatrice?
Her mom.
Even if I tell you, you won't believe me anyway.
What do you mean by that? Is it possible the killer's someone we know well? And that, for some reason, you're covering for them by remaining silent? Who gave you the letter?
I got it from Beatrice. I'll say it no matter how many times you ask. I got the letter from Beatrice.
Maria laughs.
George Oni-chan, do you refuse to believe in Beatrice because she's not an opponent you can hit?
And now it's George's turn to hit Maria.
You want to turn your feelings of helplessness into violence and beat someone up. You won't be satisfied until your opponent is a human you can hit. So even if I tell the truth, you won't be able to accept it, so it's pointless for me to tell you. You won't believe.
I don't know, I'd throw hands with a witch. They gotta like waggle their wands or their hands to cast magic, so instead they'll catch these hands.
Hey, the most effective way to stop a wizard from casting spells is to pin them against the wall and kiss them sloppily. as most spells have a somatic and verbal component.
You had to think
few
there for a
spells you can
sec.
cast without. Yeah, very few spells you can cast without either of those things.
But what if they have a wand and they just jab it in your eye while you're trying to kiss them?
See, that's why you have the dagger.
Okay. So you're stabbing a dying woman, then kissing her to like keep her mouth quiet and shut so that no one hears the scream?
Yes, it asserts dominance.
Okay, now the other problem. What if the witch is butterflies like we've seen in the background and stuff? How are you gonna kiss a butterfly? With a knife?
You don't need. See, if it's butterflies, you just need to fumigate the place.
Yes. Let's clearly call the fumigators to come out in the middle of a typhoon. They'll be on the spot.
Hey, you have a carbon monoxide producer. You just open that shit up, leave the manor. Everything will be dead in like 2 to 3 hours.
Sure. Did you read this yet, or?
Yeah, I already read it.
But you will keep on saying it. But I will keep saying it. I will say it because it's true. Beatrice exists.
Maria laughs.
The door to the Golden Land will soon be open. And that's where I'm going. Beatrice promised. In that world, Mama is nice and Papa is with us and all. Son of a bitch!
Yeah. Mom, in that world, Mom doesn't beat her and my dad didn't run away.
I want to go there right away. Everyone is afraid of Beatrice, and that is only natural. But calm yourselves. Beatrice told me herself. Listen. By the time the typhoon has passed, she will have ended. Ow! Fucking.
Okay, but we've got a time limit now. The typhoon's supposed to end tomorrow.
Hey, you know that thing I said about not having to wait 9 full days? Man, it's almost like I was correct.
Yeah. And it's almost like I was leading you on at the beginning when I said every episode would be a different murder. Because I played through this episode, I know what happens. I want to see how much I could keep you in the blind and see if you would figure it out by yourself. So good job on that.
Yeah, it took me like, wait, that death shouldn't have happened today.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was Kanon's thing, because it was the second night, so Hideyoshi...
It was Kanon's death. It was like, no, wait, what?
Wait a minute. Has it
That
been
means
another
a lot
day?
of people are dying tonight.
Yeah, that is,
So many people are dying tonight.
3 more people dying, I think. Yeah, 3 more people are fucking dead.
At least.
Yeah, so, I know you said Battler, Maria, and Natsuhi. So what order do you think they're going down in?
I think the next one will probably be either Genji, Nanjo, or Kumasawa. Just because they're all old. Likely, it'd be Genji or Kumasawa first because they're more tangentially related to the family. I think George will die either second to last or last.
Okay.
And Jessica's fucked after the first one.
Yeah. Just really putting that pain in Natsuhi. Just gonna twist that knife.
Yep. Maria, I don't dislike you being talkative, but let's leave it at that for now. I'll bet this is all a pretty happy situation for you. Since you're always going on about how witches exist, but keep that to yourself for the time being. Leave everyone else out of it. You're harshing the vibe, Maria. The vibe that is this creepy murder house.
This brat! I've long thought she was creepy, but she's actually screwed up something. She's screwed up! So somehow she's screwed up. Don't you think so, Battler? Genji-san? Kumasawa-san? What about you, Mom? Maria knows who the killer is, and she's hiding it. Sure, maybe she hasn't directly done anything, but she's definitely the killer's accomplice. That's right, she's a spy! She's a Mogus! She's sus! She can't stay with us any longer!
There's an enemy spy in Blue Base. Maria laughs.
You're just vindictive against that laugh.
I'm not doing like it's so hard to do a high-pitched laugh with my voice.
Maria-chan, you must learn that there are some times where indiscreet discussion must be avoided. If you continue to add any more oil to the fire, even I will get very angry. Remember, I have a gun. Aunt Natsuki glared at Maria with frightening eyes.
I'm not beyond fighting a child.
Maria was used to Auntie Rosa's loud style of scolding, but she apparently hadn't developed a resistance to this silent telling off. She shrugged and kept her mouth shut. A desolate feeling filled the room. It felt as though things would just get more complicated if anyone spoke. How many people had already died? 6 in Dad's group, both Auntie Ava and Uncle Hideyoshi, Kanon-kun, grandfather. There were a whole 18 people on the island. 10 of those people had been killed. More than half of us had been killed. And at this stage, there was absolutely no guarantee that the remaining 8 were going to be alright.
The kids are not all right. Oh, you don't get that. Okay, listen to The Offspring, and you'll get that joke.
Oh, is that like a band, or...?
Yes, so you know You're Gonna Go Far, Kid?
Yes.
That's their song.
Gotcha.
Very good
I've not
band.
learned anything else beyond, like, Gonna Go Far Kid from them, so...
Their lead singer is has his doctorate in microbiology, specifically like pertaining to viruses.
Mm-hmm. And
which is like
Ninja
cool
Brian
fact I
from
know.
Was it Ninja Brian from Ninja Sex Party is like has a doctorate in theoretical physics or particle physics.
He was straight up teaching theoretical physics when he met Danny.
Yeah. Just straight up a
He's
fucking
just
doctor in like string theory and supersymmetry.
So his off topic. So I saw a tweet from him recently. His daughter's 9, by the way, and his daughter asked him, "Hey, how do you make money?" He's like, "How does our family make money?" And he said, "My job." And she's like, "What's your job?" He's like, "So you know that band where I dress up as a ninja?" She's like, "You make money doing that?" And that's perfectly fair.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely valid.
He not only makes money, he makes a lot of money doing that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, also
And he
being
also
the social
does,
media
like-
manager for,
for Game Grumps.
Game Grumps, Starbomb, and a Ninja Sex Party.
Yeah.
Which is why you get such banger tweets as butts.
What did they mean by this? Anyway, now is not the time for discord. I'm howling at the moon and sleeping in the middle of a summer afternoon. Now that we are certain...
Whatever do we do?
Now that we are
Take all
certain...
the way. No, surprisingly applicable.
Now that we are certain that the killer can enter and leave the mansion at will and strike out of nowhere, we must give our undivided attention to surviving until tomorrow.
I agree strongly with Aunt Nazi. We can take our time racking our brains over the culprit later tonight. For now, we should consider where to barricade ourselves in. A room with no windows.
No, there is a room with windows that is safe.
The one room with windows that is safe.
Don't even know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. I was just saying, like, maybe go with the room with no windows, like the kitchen or a bathroom.
Okay, but here's the thing. If they go to Kinzo's office, there's only one actual means of entrance. Because,
and then
well,
you
first
set
off,
up
it's like on the
Natsuki
second or
with her
third
gun
floor.
pointed at it.
Yeah. There's on like the second or third floor, whatever, because it's clearly got an overlook, since Ava said Natsuki pushing Kinzo out the window would have killed him from that height.
Yep, and then you just make sure all those windows. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah,
You
they only lock from the inside, etc.
You grab some food. Yeah, you know, enough like dinner that night and then breakfast the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And then you all sleep in his office.
Mm-hmm. It was already 8 at night. We had been receiving shocks over and over again since early that morning, and both our bodies and our minds were completely tired out. There was still a long, long time until tomorrow. We needed to find some place to barricade ourselves in, somewhere we could rest our bodies and feel even the slightest bit safe.
I agree. Everyone is already pushing their mental and physical limits, myself included. I believe it would be wise to consider our plans immediately. Settled then. There's a high probability that the enemy has the equivalent of a master key.
Was Shannon, Kanon-kun, and Goda-san holding master keys?
Yes. As long as they were on duty, they would have them. They would have had them.
We didn't want to disturb the scene, so we didn't investigate this, but we can't eliminate the possibility that the key had been stolen from one of them.
Even before that, we know there's a chance the culprit visited the servant room at some point in time, so that they could unlock the shutter to the Rose Garden shed. I think it's very likely that they had already obtained a master key while there. There were many servants serving the Ushiromiya family. Because of that, there were several master keys. Furthermore, every time the shifts changed, the keys were passed between servants. She had to admit the arrangement had been somewhat sloppy.
Assuming they did borrow a bundle of keys from the pocket of one of the murdered victims, is there any safe place that even those keys couldn't open?
Because of the nature of our jobs, we have been entrusted with keys to all of the rooms. All of them in the mansion and in the guest house. So in other words, no matter what we hold up and lock ourselves in, it'd just be pointless. Fine by me. Who needs goddamn locks? If you're gonna come on, damn it. I'll kill you first. The enemy won't approach us from the front. I don't know about the first 6, but if we look at what happened to my parents and Kanon-kun, and even grandfather, the enemy has only gone after isolated people. They don't have the power to assault all of us openly in a secure room.
That's right. It's just like Anarchy says. Maybe Auntie's rifle can serve to stave off the enemy.
I hope that is so, but...
Maria, I know you want to say something, but keep it to yourself and stay quiet for a while.
Shut the fuck up, Maria.
Yeah.
Maria probably want to say that, like, witches weren't afraid of things or guns, or something like that. But if she were to say that out loud, the atmosphere around here would get pretty edgy. I noticed and decided to put a stop on it.
No weapon made by man can kill me. Are you sure about that? Pulls out an RPG-7. I love Buffy the Vampire Slayer so much. It's so stupid.
I have not seen anything of Buffy. I keep hearing that it's like a bunch of dumb comedy shit like that, but...
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, my mom watched it, so I watched it with her when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, it's just, it's very stupid. It's very camp. I think you would love it.
Probably, but... Yeah. I'd have to find time to watch it. And that's the hard bit, finding time these days.
Yeah. If I may, there is one place that cannot be entered, even with the servant's keys.
Where is that?
Very well. It is the master's study.
I'm against this. I don't even want to think about going into grandfather's creepy room. How many
Well,
keys
it's
can
either
get
that or
access
we
to
all
that
die,
room?
so... There are two. I always have one of them. The other was held by the master himself. But just now, for the body in the boiler room.
Genji-san took out the handkerchief from his pocket and opened it, showing us a burnt and filthy key to the study. Then he showed it alongside his own key, which he had once lent to Aunt Natsuhi.
Normally, I would have left the master's key for the police, but he had ordered me to always protect the safety of the study, so I borrowed it for the time being. I see. Which means that Kinzo's study is the only safe location right now.
It would appear that way. I don't even want to think about being shut up all night in that room of particular smells. But it
Peculiar
appears we must
smells.
accept that his room's is safer than anywhere else right now.
Grandfather locked fucking... That's not a hard word. Grandfather locked himself up in the safe room, but the culprit still brought him out and killed him. We can't say for certain that it's truly safe. Yeah, especially since there's poison in it, but that's...
Okay, so how would you, as the culprit, then get them out of that locked room to tempt them in? Because like, if they have both keys in, and you're of the belief magic doesn't exist, how would you get the people out of that room to kill them? Or how would you get in to kill them?
Well, I can tell you how I would have gotten Kenzo. So if my theory is correct about what is in that room and what is making that smell, he was already partially insane from just the mercury
No!
poisoning.
Kinzo Ushiromiya! Insane! Nah!
From the mercury poisoning, which means he was probably experiencing hallucinations, which, as almost every servant has said, they have experienced hallucinations, with the exception of Goda, who hadn't been there long enough and hadn't directly served Ginzo. So I would have just been like, "It's me, Beatrice. Come here," and fucking let him out, or like left him a note or something. Something that would have like let him out of the room, into the boiler room, where I would have then stabbed him in the head and shoved him in the boiler.
Okay.
Or the heater part of it.
Okay, so that's getting Kinzo out. But now all 8 of these people are on edge and testy about what's going on. How would you get them out to start killing?
Throw a rock through the window.
That's it.
Simplest answer is the best. Yeah, I mean, like if you're going to try to scare somebody, you throw not just one rock, but you throw a few rocks through the window, make it look like the it's gonna get worse. But like, I honestly don't know. The only way I can think of is that they somehow made a copy of the key and then put it back on Kinzo. But like that's actually impossible without like the proper equipment.
Alright. No other thoughts on like how they could like get them to like leave the room willingly then? You're just thinking threaten them with rocks.
I mean, you also just set the house on fire.
Okay.
No, that's if you're trying to get people out of a house, you set the house on fire. Because either
In the
they
middle
will
of a
die in their
typhoon.
house- Hey, Case, you know houses burn down all the time in the middle of like heavy rain, right?
I know. I'm saying like trying to get them to leave the house in the middle of a typhoon even with a fire from the 2nd floor.
Oh, yeah, you start the fire on the 1st floor. They don't have time to react.
When
This is a house from the 40s.
Your stated
so
the
there's-
stated goal we have been given is to reclaim everything the Ushroomias have like produced since then as your own. You're going to destroy the entire house with everything in it, all of the like wealth and value produced by that family that's been left in there, and one of the gold bars you yourself had provided to that family, you were just gonna burn down the house and then leave it for gone.
Yes. If my goal is to kill them, yes. Reclaiming isn't necessarily getting back, it's taking everything. So, part of taking everything is you doing with your property what you're gonna do with your property. Such as setting the house on fire. They already proven that. Stop shaking your fucking head. If I'm trying to kill a lot of people in a very small window of time, either I'm going to lead them outside by setting the fucking house on fire, or they're gonna die in a house fire.
I hit the wrong button. I meant to hit snooze and accidentally hit ad break. Fuck. Shit. Hit the wrong button. Oh well.
Good job.
Shut up.
Oh yeah, I watched the Fiona and Cake stuff. It's pretty good.
Right, while that's happening, since that's inadvertently now our break, I'm grabbing more tea.
Oh yeah.
I am in fact back. I'm alive. Despite your best efforts.
Alright.
Yep. Right, you were talking about Fiona and Cake.
Much. Oh yeah, I thought it was good.
I have not seen anything of it. I've been hearing it's good. Haven't seen anything of it.
It's definitely like earned its TV 14 rating.
Wow, damn.
Which honestly, Adventure Time deserved to have the word fuck said at least once. like going back, like, yeah. Just one.
Okay, but don't put it at like the most intense moment. Put it at like a one-off, like side, like small joke in a lighthearted episode.
It would have had to be. It would have had to be like a, like, Jake and Finn and Jake doing something and just going, and Jake going, Finn, dude, holy fuck. Or just Finn, Jake, what the fuck was that? Or just like an exasperated Principal going, ah, fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Just at any point in time, it would have been really funny.
Anything else?
And this is coming from
like...
someone who didn't. I didn't watch all of Adventure Time, mostly because it started coming out when I was really young, and then just ended when I was an adult. So
yeah, mm-hmm.
I watched like the last like 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm. Same.
Which are really good. So
yeah. But anything else with our like theory on like how you would be the one to get them out of that room, or
Like I said, arson. Arson's a victimless crime, except for all the victims.
I'm gonna keep shaking my head at you for that bad plan.
Don't commit crimes. It's a great plan. This is
It's
a
a
house from the
terrible
40s.
plan.
There's no fire suppression system in this house.
Absolutely terrible plan. If we go with your theory that grandfather skillfully outlasted the receipt and then left the room of his own free will, it still might have some worth as a place to barricade ourselves in.
You're optimistic, Aniki.
However, at the same time, I thought he brought up a pretty interesting point. After all, this gives us a chance to question the enemy, the witch herself, about how the sealed door had been opened. If we assume the culprit used some technique to abduct father from his study, they would have to show us the same trick again if they want to assault us in the study.
Man, I can't believe Rudolph was in the study after he died.
It's tragic. It's an opportunity to force the culprit to demonstrate that trick right before our eyes. If they're a real witch, we should be forcing them to say, "Open sesame!" and open the door by magic right in front of us. But such a thing is probably impossible. If you flip open the chessboard, you realize that the culprit is obviously just trying to act like they're a witch. If they really were a witch, all they'd have to do is appear in front of us and show off a spell colorful enough to silence all our doubts. Since they've avoided doing that, everything must be the work of the fake witch, who wants us to think otherwise. Therefore, a culprit who used a technique other than magic to defeat the locked room couldn't open the door before our eyes.
Is grandfather's room big enough to stuff 8 people in? Yes. There's a bed, a sofa, and blankets, so while it is not luxurious, it will be more than enough to spend the night. There's also a sink, a bathroom, a refrigerator, and a liquor cabinet. Yes, because I'm gonna sleep in a fucking refrigerator.
I mean, just survive a bomb like Indiana Jones in a fridge.
Hey, so, if you ever have Wild Wasteland activated while you're playing New Vegas...
Yes, I know.
Coming out of Good Springs, there is a dude in a refrigerator who is very dead.
Yes. But don't you know,
You also
there's
get a
also
cat.
that kid who survived the bombs as a ghoul in a fridge in Fallout 4. Checkmate.
I wouldn't call that surviving a bomb. I'd call that being stuck in a fridge for 200 years.
Well, he's alive.
What do you qualify as alive?
He is a living,
I don't-
breathing ghoul, still coherently thinking and talking in straightforward words, and his family is also alive, waiting at their old home, where he has distinct memories of living and can able to lead you to that house.
First of all, I don't think ghouls can breathe. Because, cancer. Second of all, there's a reason we call them ghouls. Because,
You're saying like breathe,
They're
like
no-
a breathe.
breathe.
Okay. But
Respirate.
yeah, okay. It's slightly cut off on my end for that.
I'm not going to say ghouls can breathe. They can't. They're sterile because, radiation. It's the same reason fucking supermoons are sterile. Radiation. Well, also the...
I mean, if you get
anti-G-
if you get good enough cancer, you can just like your cancer cells can survive on their own and then exist on other entities and therefore become like reproductive on their own. Like that one dog cancer that is just like that one dog virus that is just a cancer from like an ancient dog that's been surviving forever.
That's actually fucking wild.
Yeah. No, Hank Green did a like small like short on it. It was like, yeah, no, this I was thinking about cancer this one time, and then apparently there's this one dog, like in the way past who had cancer. But like the cells just kept multiplying and not dying, and then it became like an actual pathogen for other dogs.
Huh. I hope that doesn't happen. You know what? That would be how zombies happen. That would be how zombies happen. It's not a virus, it's just cancer. It's just super cancer.
Ah, yes, good old super cancer.
Oh, that's incredible, but isn't that weird? You're saying he built another house inside his house. It's almost like he's incredibly rich. That's pretty cramped for the last house of someone like our grandfather who bought a whole island and realized all of his dreams.
Yes, it is. After some point in time, Father wouldn't trust any other place, even inside the mansion. We always sneered about how he would shut himself up in there, and this time we're the ones who are gonna shut ourselves up in. Huh. Jessica spat the words out. Jessica-chan, it feels like you would rather go to search for the culprit rather than stay shut up somewhere. Of course, I don't think we'll be able to find them if we just start searching now. In the end, we can't do anything but wait. Then it doesn't matter where we wait, does it? I won't run away or hide. Why don't we just take it easy in the parlor, watching TV or something and waiting for the great Beatrice-sama to appear? It will be perfectly satisfying.
Wait, go ahead.
Ahem!
Sorry. I hadn't said a line in a while.
Do you want to take over for her? Go ahead.
No.
No, go on. You said I don't mind taking another voice off my list and adding it to you.
I think we're pretty evenly split with 4 voices and 4 voices.
Narrator. That's fine. It will be perfectly satisfactory for her not to appear. There is no need for us to expose the culprit.
Well said. We shouldn't take too many risks before the police get here.
Thank you, Dr. Nanjo. I think we should move to Father's study. Certainly, considering the possibility that Father was taken out of there, there's no guarantee of absolute safety. However, just as Battler-kun reasoned, I also can't deny the possibility that Father left the study of his own accord and was attacked outside. That crazy theory had been just what I came up with to stop the argument. However, just as Auntie Ava had said, even though that trick would work, I can't begin to explain what motive could have made Grandfather do something so awkward to sneak away out of his own study. Plus that trick of hiding under the bed and waiting for the receipt to be removed before escaping couldn't have been used unless Grandfather had known the receipt was wedged in the door. Auntie Ava hadn't pointed out that last part, but it's clear how absurd that theory was. Then does that mean that, as Auntie Ava claimed, the door was sealed and that it was a locked room? Is it a doubtless fact that Aunt Nasuhi was the culprit and that the room was a locked room? If Auntie were here now, she would probably make that claim openly and do me the favor of blowing my strange theory away. But, anyways, I had to admit that a room with both a bed and a toilet that all April could be shut up in, and with only 2 keys, both of which were gathered here, had to be the safest place in the mansion right now. At the very least, I figured this would be better than shutting ourselves up in the parlor again and saying, "Nothing went wrong while we were here in the air before." No, wait, were we safe because we were shutting up in the parlor? What if leaving that room and moving to an unexplored location is actually more dangerous? No good. No good at all! My flimsy head is about to break out in a fever. As I keep flipping the chessboard, the real and the inverse keep switching over with one another, and I lose my ability to believe in anything. When it seemed like the culprit was one of the 18, I wanted to believe in Beatrice. And once I start believing in Beatrice, I want to start fighting a culprit amid the 18. That keeps spinning around forever, and in the end, my thoughts haven't taken one step from where they started. How far back in the past was it that Kirie-san taught me this chessboard way of thinking? That concept of examining the situation by flipping it over and thinking from the enemy's side. I get the feeling that I was so interested in this way of thinking at the time that I let it guide the way I thought about everything. By the way, Kirie-san was Dad's co-worker back then. I hadn't dreamed that the day would come that she would be added to our family. Didn't Kirie-san tell me something? I get the feeling that she once said that, while this chessboard thinking was one way to look at things, it wasn't all-powerful by any means, and in fact was actually bad to rely on too much.
You want her or should I?
Take her.
Chessboard thinking is my interpretation of something called game theory.
A game theory?
Which I read about in a book. Game theory is actually really interesting, like in terms of economics, but that's...
Oh, I know, like, it's
besides the
actually
point.
really, really interesting, fascinating.
it's
I just find it funny
incredibly
to
interesting.
devolve it.
It's a very interesting subject, so you should try tackling it when you get into college, Battler-kun. I really want to try it. If I could study that and perfect my chessboard thinking, it'd be like I could read into an opponent's moves. That'd be really fun. But you can't believe in it blindly. Game theory is a very deep and complicated subject. Chessboard thinking is just my interpretation that skims the surface of game theory. In order to thoroughly read your opponent's moves like you are imagining, you need to do a lot of study. Additionally,
Fuck. I clicked that
damn
once
it,
and it just
Case.
did... I know, I clicked that once and it just did 3.
Additionally, while chessboard theory is convenient, wait, where?
Right there.
Additionally, while chessboard theory is convenient and practical, it isn't perfect. It has many weak points despite its convenience. Weak points? Yes. Chessboard thinking is founded upon game theory, and game theory is essentially math when you boil it down. Do you know what the weak point of math is? It's noise.
In math, when you write 1 + 1 = 2, that equation will always be 1 + 1 = 2, no matter how many billions of years pass. Nothing more, nothing less. That's because there's absolutely no noise mixed in. But, for example, unlike math, the Japanese language has a lot of noise mixed in. Kanji are a good example. Old kanji and new kanji are slightly different, which represents it as an introduction of noise created by changes over the years. Isn't history the same? There are dozens of policies that seem foolish in the modern era, but were meaningful at some point in the past. Because the rules of chess are fixed, when a pair of experts are discussing one particular position, it's possible they could reach the same conclusion whether they're from 100 years in the past or 100 years in the future.
So, to give an example from the English language, buffalo, 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 buffalo. That's a sentence. That is a full.
I
like,
did not click
grammatically
anything,
correct
game.
sentence.
What the fuck? Sorry, go on.
So, the buffalo spelt out 8 times, with 2 times being capitalized, the beginning of the sentence and the name of the city.
Yeah.
I guess 3 times because it's saying the name of the city again. But it's basically English is a very stupid language because buffalo is just another way to say that it's being hit by wind.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really stupid way of saying it's kind of windy in Buffalo right now.
Yeah.
But also, like, buffalo is an animal. So you could say, some buffalo passed wind in the city of Buffalo. But you get buffalo, 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 buffalo.
It's
All
like
said the same way. All spelled the
buffalo
same way.
bison that other buffalo bison bully. Also bully buffalo bison, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Thank you,
Or,
Wikipedia,
you know, you get
for
the-
reading that example out for me.
Or you get the you get that in the middle of sentences.
Or
Which is
James
grammatically
while
correct,
John
but no.
had a better effect on the teacher. Because of ambiguity of punctuation and shit. Or that
Basically,
one
English
Chinese
is a
poem that is entire. No, even Japanese, even Chinese can get that way, where there's a poem entirely made out of saying "sh" in different ways. Lion-eating poet in the stone den. It's like.
Yeah, but
I forget
math.
how long, but
All this to bring to the point that math, while good for experiments and a controlled environment, is completely irrelevant most of the time. Math is fundamentally one of the more useless skills you'll have throughout life, except for like the very basic math. I see your head nodding. I hear you going,
I'm tilting my head side to side, like kind of yes and no.
well, yeah, there's a yes and no. So you are going to use math throughout your life. Money, like money math. You might do something in your house that requires you to use a ruler. But for the most part, in your day-to-day life, you will use math less than you'll use history or language. So you're not thinking about the noise of math, unless you are in a field that requires a lot of math, like engineering or chemistry or architecture. The most math I, as someone who studies history, has to do is, well, how many years or days was this removed from this event?
But also
Which
I have to
is-
factor in different calendar dates too.
Yeah, factoring in different calendar. History, when it gets to the dates, is really fucking hard, which is why I hate memorizing dates, because it's fundamentally the most useless part of history. If you, as long as you memorize eras, and you're able to get like a general date, it's fine. There's very few like real dates you'll get once you go super far back.
However, if the rules of chess had gone through a massive changes over time, it's possible that the discussion about the same position could have changed as well.
Precisely. Events in the world of humans are naturally full of noise. Aren't human emotions that way? Even if the exact same thing occurs more than once, there's no guarantee that humans will always act in a predictable fashion. The very fact that we're trying to read an opponent's actions by applying a mathematical theory to them means must realize that there are already some limits and weak points to your theory. Wow, the music is getting loud.
Yeah, I'm got it cut down a lot on our end, but yeah, it's very loud. We gotta have the knockoff like Halloween music tripping out all the times.
To put it quick and easy, chessboard thinking is extremely weak against noise and fickleness, and even mistakes or incorrect knowledge.
That's right. Meowth, that's right!
Meow, that's right!
That's right, Kyrie-san definitely said that. In the first place, chess is a game where both sides play by the same rules and fight with the same objective, namely, victory. This is why it's possible for both sides to predict the other's moves. It's possible to read an opponent because you can always suppose that they will advance with the best moves they can find. But what if the opponent is fickle or a little tired and makes a move that can hardly be called the best? Or maybe, what if the game actually has special rules, only the enemy knows them, and they can make use of something unknown to you? In fact, what if the opponent actually has some goal other than victory? Think from your enemy's perspective. That's the basis of chessboard thinking, which means that if you misunderstand your enemy, any and all answers that you draw from that process will be complete rubbish and of no use at all. Many times I thought that by using chessboard thinking, I got a glimpse of the person behind these crimes. However, I don't know anything about the culprit. Am I just playing in a labyrinth of thought? If Kyrie-san were here at a time like this, she'd probably be able to notice something with her much, much sharper thinking ability.
So a good example of using chess analogy well, if you take chess and it's the same rules every time, and then you add something in like, you just punched your opponent in the face, or you were just punched in the face, you're probably not going to make the best moves, which is why chess boxing is such a fun thing to watch.
That's also why the tennis and gambit intercontinental ballistic missile variation is such an like hard move to counter.
And this is why when you play cards, make sure no one with a gun is standing behind you.
Now, but what if the cards they're playing with are knives, and they can just like get you with a surprised edge you didn't notice?
I think Dead Man's Hand was 3 8s, an ace, and then something else.
I have no clue.
I'll look it up later.
Yeah. Jessica never warmed to the idea of moving into grandfather's study. But in the end, Aunt Natsuhi persisted, and we decided to move there. Everyone was already trapped by paranoia. Kumasawa-san had prepared dinner once already, but after the incident involving George and Niki's parents, the kitchen and the parlor had become temporarily devoid of people. Someone said that it might have been poisoned at the time. Because of that, we were unable to even touch the food that Kumasawa-san had taken the trouble to make for us. The manner in which the first 6 had been killed was still unknown, but there was still a possibility that it was poison. And indeed, by this method, even a single person would be able to carry out the murder of 6 fully grown adults. Furthermore, this idea made it seem like there was only a single culprit, who was also afraid of Aunt Natsuhi's rifle, and this was very good for our emotional stability. But the fatigue and hunger were even harsher than we'd imagined. So, on Kumasawa-san's suggestion, we all went along together to the kitchen, and gathered some canned food, which would be hard to poison, to take in with us.
Hard, but not impossible to poison.
Yeah.
Speaking of food, I'm going to be right back. I want to make sure my sisters eat.
Well then, while we're waiting for him to get back, I should probably also make myself the tea I've got here. Since it's been steeping for like 5-10 minutes. Or, not even 10 minutes, it's been steeping for 20 minutes. I think it's more than done enough. I just need to actually wrap it in now. No, I think he's got, besides the whole, like, just burn down the house plan. Like, I think he's doing fairly good at solving, like, everything else that's come up so far. He's got a lot of other different ideas, which I can see is, like, if he's on, I can see he's only, like, looking at the surface of things for, like, solving the mystery. But then again, like, that is a very difficult problem to handle of, like, there are people trapped in a room. They have locked themselves in. How do you get them out? I feel like he's on the right process of, like, if you start the fire, they're either gonna die or they're gonna leave the room, so he's halfway to the right process, I think. But I don't think he's got, like, the right chain of thought, like, line of logic that he can follow. He's just making a leap between 2 different points of room empty, make a room full, make room empty. Because if he sets the house on fire, that's not a controllable situation like you've got with the other murders, where you could see everything was also done very deliberately and clearly, where they took the first 6 people they got because they were all together, unable to be interrupted. All of them were dealt with at once without, like, anyone ever noticing. The Hideyoshi and Ava were also got without anyone noticing till after the deed was done. Same with Kinzo. So everything they've done so far has been very deliberate and isolated, keep making sure only the people it was either people who were on their own, or they were getting a group all together at once, where they wouldn't be able to be interrupted, or they wouldn't be able to have a person just run out and, like, say, "Oh no, look, this is where they went, this is who attacked me." Closest to that would have been Kanon, who stood up and said, "Fight me," and Beatrice just went, "Bet," and killed him. So, not quite on the money yet, but he's getting there. Let's see, how's this tea taste? I need a bit more honey, one sec. Okay. I am back and my headphones got unplugged when I ran off, damn it. Come on. Alright. Now it's time for... Hello? There we go, hello. I'm back. But... I wonder if he'll be able to see what's coming before we get to the final chapter. Because he says he knows Higurashi. He's seen what's gone on. And everything. So I think he might be able to put it together, but I also don't know. Because despite everything happening at an accelerated time schedule, it's still following like generally like standard murder mystery structure. So how it ends isn't entirely unreasonable to not be able to guess until it's too late, so... I think I will wait till the end of this chapter here. Because we've got one more after this before the end credits. So I will give him the start of that chapter to guess what happened, how it's going to end, and everything. And then... after that, we'll just see how it goes, and I won't let him guess after that one moment's gone. He'll just have to run with everything that's going on. And just accept it. Hello, welcome back. I've been having to waffle about, like, what your theories and your thought process to keep the chat entertained.
Yep.
Yep. And I'm calling you stupid.
No, you're not.
Not at this point in time, but I was earlier. Like, you're so close, but you're, like, missing a few points on the line that would have made that like, trail of thought, like, connect properly. But...
I mean, this is a gas stove.
Mm-hmm.
All I'm saying is that arson in this house is really easy because there's no fire suppression system. This is a gas stove.
Mm-hmm.
You just need one spark.
Mm-hmm. And you're also not thinking about how all the other murders have been committed so far.
Well, yeah, in a closed room.
No, like... every other murder has been committed in a way where there was, besides, like, canon, but that was also, like, even then, that was still workable. There has been no other way for, like, anyone to actually notice who the murderer was, or, like, catch a glimpse of them beyond canon, who immediately got killed and couldn't say anything. There's always been a way for, like, no maximum deniability for anyone who was already dead. Once you start the fire, and everyone has to run out, you yourself have to also get out to safety. And there's only a few exits to the house that would work. Because if you stand in the middle of the courtyard, you're trapped.
The house.
If you start a fire inside and you try to say, head to the courtyard, you're trapped in the middle and you can't escape any of the blaze surrounding you. Run to the outside. Only like two or three exits, because like it would be the front, the back, and then the servants' quarters. Very high likelihood of actually getting caught. Which every other murder has been done so far has been done in a way where they have not been able to be caught no matter how they did it. So something very big and noticeable like that is very different compared to how the other murders have been done.
I mean, there's also the chance of carbon monoxide poisoning, but like, that would require them to kip up the boiler and to make sure.
I think you're overthinking like everything that's been set up. So like you're missing an entire different way of approaching the situation. Because if you're saying like, oh, carbon monoxide like fire stuff down, very easily a way to just kill everyone and not like have the like Battler or Beatrice to survive if something fucks up. Because remember, it only says at minimum. Yes, it could go over, but at minimum, there should be 5 people left.
All right.
So you're just not thinking in a way of like what could go on based off of.
No, it says controls, and it just all I'm covering up the con part of it, so it just said trolls next to my. Yeah.
It literally just
So I
says
thought
you can scroll. And then it does not go away for way too fucking long.
Anyways.
All of Kumasawa-san's efforts to reward us with at least a nice dinner on this savage day regrettably came to nothing. The food piled up on the serving cart looked just a little sad. We all started climbing the stairs. Aunt Natsuhi led the group, warily staring into the darkness with both eyes and the barrel of a gun. When we arrived on the 3rd floor, just as Aunt Natsuhi had warned us before, there was a mixture of a chemical spell and a sickly sweet aroma, a stench hanging in the air that felt like it was eating into our heads.
Yeah, this kind of stench would probably give you a headache if you were shut in with it for a whole night. I know it's a little late, but I find myself siding with Jessica against going into grandfather's study.
This exceptionally magnificent door felt like the source of the stench. So, this was the door to the forbidden study, which had turned away all who visited it. While Genji-san was unlocking the door, Maria was staring at the door and the doorknob with great interest.
Ew. What a door. It looks old and strict and like it would stop any jokes cold. Sure is a fitting door for grandfather's study.
It contains a really strong power to ward off any spiritual menace.
Beatrice probably couldn't open this door.
Everything alright? You were kind of like muffled for a sec.
Yeah, everything should be alright.
May just be like lag and something in Discords.
Might have been a lag thing, yeah. Oh. What does that mean?
I wonder, Maria pointed at the doorknob. A scorpion crest, no. A design like a magic circle arranged around a scorpion was inscribed there. This design... That's right, isn't this just like those keyholder charms that Maria gave Jessica and me yesterday? The 5th magic circle... Oh, right, yeah.
The 5th magic circle of Mars... Yeah.
I saw the magic circle, I'm like, oh, I know that, and started like typing up, like for my for the, like, Key of Solomon, but...
I saw Mars, and I was like, oh, music's playing. It's probably Mars. It's not.
Oh, no.
But
sadly, we're not going with the planets for everything.
Gustav Holst really is carrying, like, epic moments on his back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The 5th magic circle of Mars is a strong magic repellent. Additionally, this magic circle was very diligently constructed and is full of power. To beings of magic like Beatrice, this magic circle is quite troublesome. Isn't that comforting? Are you saying that we can escape even the grip of Beatrice's evil hand in this room? Our little witch here sure is reliable.
Then how did Beatrice take grandfather out? No, that's...
You sound like your dad there.
I'm a bit stressed out, I hope you know what I'm saying. Also.
A peanut butter
Here we go.
banana sandwich.
There we go, found it. Here we go, figure 29. 5th pentacle of Mars. Write thou this pentacle upon virgin parchment, because it is terrible unto demons, and at its sight and aspect they will obey thee, for they cannot resist its presence.
What the fuck is virgin parchment?
It's like clean, fresh parchment. Like, unused.
Oh, I guess, yeah, because you could scrape off the... Yeah.
Yeah. Thou shalt go upon the lion and the adder, and the young lion and the dragon shalt thou tread under thy feet. Psalm XCI, verse 13. Yeah. Yeah. I have to keep pointing that out every time we get it, because I have, like, got use out of this thing while I can, because I read too much of it. Oh, hey. Legend of Zelda. Da 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 da.
Da 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 da!
Da-da-da-da-da-da. And just a guy.
Ba-ba-da-da-da-da, ba-ba-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Back to the game.
Just as Battler reasoned, Beatrice can't go inside, but she has magic and she also has familiars. Using those, she might have been able to force Grandfather to leave the study. Ah, I read that in a manga. There was a scene where the vampires were frightened of crosses, so they couldn't get close. But their familiars were fine, so they made their familiars attack. You mean Dracula? That scorpion key holder, like charm I gave you yesterday, also has the 5th magic circle of Mars on it. The power dwelling within it is paltry. Paltry. That's not a word a 9-year-old would know.
She also wouldn't be able to read Hebrew as a normal 9-year-old.
You'd be surprised. Some 9-year-olds are Jewish.
You think Maria is Jewish?
You don't know, it's a Western religion. You imagine the entire time the family's just been Jewish?
I don't know. If the entire family was Jewish, I'd expect the entire family to read Hebrew.
Some people are bad Jews.
Out of context,
I'm not going to touch that sentence in the
Out of context, it
slightest.
sounds really bad.
I'm not going to touch that in the slightest.
People...
Move, read, motherfucker, read.
Some people can't read Hebrew.
The power dwelling within
read the line.
The power. I am. The power dwelling within it was paltry, but it would have been enough to protect you until you left the island. Although it sounds like you lost it, right?
Maria laughs.
Scorpion keyholder charm? That charm I gave you yesterday, it was something I got from Maria. I heard that it would repel magic if you put it on your doorknob, and at the time I thought maybe it would be better if you had it. Is that so? I thought it was an odd thing for you to be carrying around.
Aunt Nazi, he put that on her doorknob?
Yes. Last night, after hearing about it from Jessica, I hung it from the doorknob on the inside of my door.
Then Aunt Nazi, you're really fortunate. If you did that, Beatrice probably couldn't even lay one finger on you yesterday. I think Beatrice must have been really annoyed.
Maria laughs.
Beatrice annoyed? Couldn't lay one finger. Nazi thought back to that eerie graffiti she had seen that morning, like someone had been tearing at the outside of her door with blood-soaked hands, and gasped in surprise. Could it be that this witch who called herself Beatrice had tried to enter through the door to her very own room? But the magic-repelling charm had been hanging from the inside, so she couldn't break through the door. So she was annoyed. So she scratched at it? Quit it! Don't talk about that! Witches don't exist! The killer does, Santa isn't real, there is no Easter Bunny. We've made this joke before.
There is no Queen of England.
We've made this joke before. I'm already cutting that bit out. Yeah. And that's a human just like us. If you need proof, why don't we dice her up and see if her blood's red? Damn it. Damn it. How could you do that to Canon-kun?
Oh, did someone have a crush on the femboy?
Almost like that was mentioned. That was mentioned like 4 streams ago. Yes!
That was?
Yes!
I legitimately don't remember that happening.
When Jessica was busy talking about like, oh yeah, George and Shannon, Battler was like, "Oh, what about you? Is there someone you like? What? No, no, no." And she's like, then Battler started teasing her about Canon before I think they went to go see. I think it was because there was like the initial bit right after when she kept covering for Canon during the introductions when they got on the island. There was another time after that while they were at the guest house, I believe. And then there was her reaction to seeing him hidden dead. Those are the 3 points that are coming like immediately to mind, but there might be more. Click.
All right.
Genji unlocked the door. The 8 entered Kinzo's study. Grandfather's study. I'd heard rumors about it beforehand, so it didn't surprise me all that much. He had done nothing more than fortify it thoroughly with his occultic hobbies. If Grandfather's hobby had been chasing after pop idols, these walls might have been buried beneath idol posters. Even if I didn't understand it, I did realize that this room was an amalgamation of all things he enjoyed. Even so, I couldn't help but remain dumbfounded by the smell of his creepy medicine and the sweet stench that seemed to melt my head.
I personally would have just risked it out in the regular mansion, but like I'm built different, so I wouldn't die.
Sure. Sure. We'll go with that. You're just built different so you wouldn't die. Gotcha.
I'm built different.
Built stupid.
I'm built incorrectly.
You're just straight up built wrong. Factory defect that shouldn't have gotten off the floor.
With my health problems, I'm like a regular defect. It's the kind of flaw you'd find in anything. It's like the fucking Doro you find in a bag of Doritos.
El Doro.
El Doro.
When the door closed, it automatically made a clunk. I see, so this is the auto lock that activated whenever the door is closed. And there were only 2 keys to this room which could open the door from the outside, both of which were in this room. In other words, this room had become a locked room. The shutter, the receipt, the chain, and now the auto lock. This 4th door had been locked in the most magnificent fashion, yet constructing a locked room in a perfect form that none could argue with. Just to make absolutely sure that the room was secure, we checked all over for ways in or out. The windows were tightly locked. That should have been enough, but just in case, we tried knocking on all over the walls. After all, there had been whispers that there might have been a hidden door in this room, but we couldn't find anything suspicious. Grandfather's study was large. Even though we call it a study, it wasn't really a single room. It could be divided up into 4 basic sections. A study section, a bedroom section, a toilet bathroom section, and a section for cooking that had a sink. I see. The study does have enough in it to live in. Now I can understand how Grandfather could live his whole life in this room without ever leaving. It seemed Grandfather wasn't in the habit of watching TV. There was no television in this room, nor even a radio. Until tomorrow morning, there would be nothing for us to do but pass the time listening to the sound of rain.
There is so many books there.
Yes. Like, probably a lot of, like, different occultic literature from around the world. Definitely got the Keys of Solomon in there, both greater and lesser, like the actual, like, original text, and then, like, basically the fan fiction about occultic stuff made by Aleister Crowley there. What's another one?
Probably there.
Probably, but that's a bit less, that's less a bit immediately, like, occultic significance, but it's also just a good book, so he'd probably have it.
Yeah, same with
Especially
Prince.
with his, like, yeah.
I would buy a copy of The Prince if I could find it.
Mhm.
Like, just having a physical copy of that book.
Yep. There's a few. Oh God, I'm trying to remember what the other like occult texts I kept getting told about doing and reading were, but I'm just blanking on them. Hold on, I can just. I can pull up
Anything
the
with
list.
alchemy? Yeah, anything written by Nicholas Flamel.
One sec, where is my resource?
Well, I guess it depends on the occultic stuff you're looking up, because Nicholas Flamel was an alchemist, so a lot of that stuff is based on like chemistry.
Was it there? Yeah, there's Kabbalah. That's one. If he has some Gnosticism, probably Fragments of a Faith Forgotten and Gnostics in their main. I am just pulling up stuff like an entire like separate page that had all this stuff I got told to look at when we were making fake characters for like extra reference.
Probably the Bible, the Quran, the Mahabharata, the Ramayana.
Yeah.
There's a name for
But
the
some of those-
Zoroastrian text. I can't remember it.
Avesta. You know, Verg Avesta, like reversed Avesta, so it's just the Avesta.
All right.
Dr. Nanjo, why did my mouse just flip over? Gazed at the chessboard that sat on the table in front of the sofa and muttered. It was apparently the partly finished chess match he'd been playing with grandfather until yesterday. The black had the white pretty well cornered and it looked like checkmate would be reached within a few moves, the end of their endgame. Even though checkmate had almost been reached, the endgame had been rushed, and in the end, never completed.
Enzo-san, it seems we weren't able to see this match through after all. Dr. Nanjo. God. I was Kinzo-san's friend for a long time, but I never knew about more than half of him. I believe that two Kinzo-sans existed, a wise one and one trapped by madness. There are two wolves inside of you. I never understood anything about him.
Especially not when it came to Beatrice-sama. It seemed like his personality changed entirely. In the direction of Kumasawa-san's upward gaze, a portrait of Beatrice could be seen. It wasn't massive like the one hanging in the entrance hall, but small, made for this room. Grandfather probably spent every day in this room and so much of his time, talking to the witch in that portrait. Who was Beatrice to grandfather in the first place? By now you couldn't just explain her away by saying she was a story made by the parents to frighten children away from wandering into the forest. No. While eating canned food we had brought from the kitchen, we talked together about who Beatrice was. Whether the culprit was Beatrice herself or someone pretending to be her. Whether they were a witch or a human, the lady in the portrait was strongly related to the basis and background of these crimes. You couldn't talk about them without talking about her. Oh yeah, Mom, you picked up a letter from the culprits in Auntie Ava's room, right? Yes. We still haven't opened it, have we? Let's open it and see. Aunt Natsuhi took out that Western-style envelope. Genti-san pulled a letter opener out of a drawer in the study desk and handed it over to her.
And it was anthrax.
While watching her open it, George Aniki grimaced slightly. After all, it was a letter left at the site where his parents had been murdered. There was a good chance that its contents would say something undesirable to Aniki. It seemed that Aunt Natsuhi also realized that, so she glanced over the contents first without reading it aloud. We were a little frightened that she might grimace after reading something shocking, but she just frowned unhappily.
What does it say?
There is one unpleasant sentence. It must be trying to provoke us. Aunt Natsuhi, after deciding that the contents could be shown to the children, set it openly on the table. Everyone stared at it at the same time. Praise my name. The hell? So frickin' smug. It's probably that Beatrice declaring herself the victor. Damn it.
I expect you were hoping for another weird magic circle to show up.
It wasn't a magic circle, but it was just as expected.
Maria laughs. But short this time. What could it mean? I wonder if she wants us to tout her own existence.
That seems reasonable. With this letter, we now know that the author of the last night's letter is the culprit. I think the identical envelope is more significant than what is written here.
Without a doubt. This is the type of envelope and sealing wax that the master would use.
Oh, I don't know what's going on anymore. This is the first time I've seen anything like this since I started working for the Ushiromiya family.
If we're to believe the letter last night, then Beatrice claims to be grandfather's oldest confidant. Grandfather often said the same thing in the past, right?
I directed the question to Genji-san and Kumasawa-san, who nodded together.
So the two of you knew more about this than anyone except grandfather. Could you tell us?
For a long time, I made a point of ignoring this topic, but now that it has come to this, I can no longer do so. Genji, tell us everything you know.
I need healing.
Genji-san didn't answer. Did he remain silent despite his knowledge, or did he know nothing at all? Still, I had a good guess. The ghost story of the witch Beatrice had been long deified among the servants. He had probably been very close to grandfather too, and his occult hobbies. So there was a good chance he'd been indoctrinated with even weirder things, and had increasingly come to deify the witch. As grandfather's most trusted servant, who had sworn loyalty to him, he might be the most influenced by the witch illusion that grandfather had created. So there was only one reason for Genji-san to remain silent. He could say it, but it would definitely cause a backlash, so it was better if he kept his mouth shut. And it wasn't like we would believe him anyways. Something along those lines. Only a short while ago, we had been more than willing to speak bluntly and unrestrainedly, and that had earned her a scuffle with Jessica. It was natural for Genji-san to keep his silence. Was she father's mistress, perhaps? His mistress. That could be possible. For ordinary poor people, polygamy isn't only viewed negatively from a moral perspective, it's also an unmaintainable financial solution. Ah yes, the economics of polygamy is where the problem goes out.
Not the morality of it. Which
You just can't financially support two families at once. Which one is Case, the VTuber or the pony? The JPEG.
Case is the VTuber.
That's... Yeah, ignore the horse. He's stuck on here
yourself. And then... Go fuck yourself, buddy.
Why would I have to when I can just shut you off and you can't say anything? See? Now no one can ever hear anything you ever say again. See? Alright. How's it going, Brute? It's been a hot minute. Everything good going on your end? How's that VJ job you doing? Soundwave?
What?
Yeah. Okay, I know I was talking shit to you before and I just didn't know if you had actually... I didn't actually silence you, motherfucker. You just didn't speak. I was like, you're silenced now. You like popped up like... and then didn't do anything, actually. I've chosen Sacramento and Chicago. Crippling back... Oh, no, not back pay. Hopefully they're not making you do any lifting and you're just sitting back running the board. But glad that you're doing good, man.
Hot.
Yeah. Yeah. This is one of my friends from back, my did DJing a lot.
Ah.
He's a professional. How is school? I graduated. I am free now and I am doing government work. Because it currently pays the best. So, ups and downs there. In free. Yeah. I mean, I managed to slip out without, like with a bachelor's without any real debt. So, I'm currently freer than my sister, who's going for her master's and in a lot of debt. So I will accept what freedom I can in not be owing people money. Because that is the one thing I refuse to, like, let happen.
I look forward to owing a loaning company tens of thousands of dollars when I finish my degree.
Yeah. How's school going, by the way?
Ha ha ha. I took out a loan so I could actually go to school because I owed the school money and, you know, couldn't pay it with my own money.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how school's going.
Yikes.
Can't get a grant because my parents make too much money.
Not even other scholarships or anything like that?
The grant was gonna help me out more than any other scholarship would at the very at that moment
damn.
because it was immediate money
Gotcha.
without having to really work for it. And also other scholarships I have to prove certain ethnicity things.
You have to prove you're not that white.
I have to prove I'm not as white as my mom.
Mm-hmm.
Which
yeah, that
if you
was
look at
easy
me,
on
I'm
my
white
part because I could just
passing.
point to hey, grandparents were two immigrants and my sister went to the same college I'm going. So you already fact checked her, and since I'm the younger brother, you already know I'm good too. Let me in, please.
We're working on finding the name of our Cherokee ancestor because then I can get like a pretty decent chunk of change as a scholarship for that.
Oh, having to actually dig back in the family tree for that, damn.
Yep.
Well, good luck on that.
Yep.
And it looks like an ad break's about to start, so... I could delay it, but I also need to go to the restroom, so I think I'm gonna start it now and then run off.
Alright.
Yeah. I'll be back. We'll be back in a few minutes. See you on the other side.
Right.
Hey, chat while I'm gone.
I'm not really a chat entertainer. Check my messages.
I am back. How dare you? I'm
Welcome
just here in
back.
silence, not you entertaining chat. I gave you one job.
And then I looked at chat and said, I'm not really a chat entertainer. I'm going to check my messages.
How dare you, you bastard.
How dare I
trusted
check
you.
my messages during the ad break?
Yes. Not even like reading out anything funny or anything that... What chat's supposed to do? Sit there in silence as they get advertised to by whoever the fuck is running the current ad?
Yes.
Shame.
They're going to get told
For
what to
shame.
buy and they're going to like it.
No. Well, if you like being told what to buy and everything, why using Opera with its built-in ad block?
And you block Origin.
And you block Origin. Why using those? Why don't you turn them off and then watch more ads to give me an extra 2 cents?
Because I give you my Prime subscription, so I don't have to watch your ads. What I'm saying is that if they don't want to watch ads, they should get you. They should subscribe to you.
Wow, you're really playing that card, huh?
Yeah.
Irredeemable. Utterly irredeemable. You're the worst kind of streamer.
You mean not a streamer?
Exactly. You're the worst kind of streamer. The kind that doesn't stream at all.
I actively have a Twitch account too.
Yeah, I know. I see it right there. I could probably ban it, actually. Actually, wait, I could just block you. I could have you as my mod, but block you, I think.
See, that creates the incapability of moderating. Also,
But it would be funny.
back to the game.
Yeah, I know. But that isn't the case for the very rich. It's possible then to have another lover in addition to their real wife. We can't deny the possibility that grandfather had another woman in his life besides grandmother. Maybe when grandmother was alive, it seems she strongly suspected it. That he was cheating on her. I'd always thought she was just referring to the witch in grandfather's head, but...
This is getting really interesting. You told me, didn't you, Genji-san? You said Beatrice has been working for grandfather since before the mansion was finished.
I've heard the construction of the mansion was completed in 1952. That was sometime in the Showa era, I don't remember. That would mean this person called Beatrice has been in a relationship with grandfather for over 30 years. And she looks like that at this age? Damn, she ages fine. She looks like a 16-year-old anime girl.
Saber? That mistress of 30 years ago, or maybe a relative or a hidden child of that person, holds some kind of grudge, be planning revenge?
Mm-hmm.
Battler laughs. I see, this is starting to sound like your standard Western mansion mystery.
Not even able to do your own laugh for him.
Yes.
Yeah, it sounds like you just hate laughing. You hate comedy. Utter monster.
Sounds like I have a full, like, thing I have to do tomorrow that involves my voice, and laughing actually fucking hurts.
What did you do to your throat that made laughing hurt?
Laughing loudly or high-pitched is a good way to just absolutely fucking wreck your throat.
Okay, you don't need to laugh, like, high-pitched loud. Just laugh your normal laugh into the mic. It picks it up. You have gain settings for that.
I'm gonna laugh sarcastically to mock you. Not now, but when it comes up again.
Go on.
This is your line.
I know. I was waiting to see if you would laugh, because he did say he had that laugh there, but no, just being rude.
Aha.
It's a filthy topic, but the easiest line of reasoning to accept. Well, Genji?
The master surely had feelings of deep love for her. There could be no mistake that he cared for her more than his late wife.
Who is this person called Beatrice, and what is she doing now? Dun, dun, dun.
I heard that she passed away before the match. Are you done? Dun dun.
Ta-da! Dun, 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 dun. Da-da. Yes, I'm done.
Damn it. I have heard that she passed away before the mansion was completed.
She's already dead?
Yes. The master mourned for her most grievously, and he devoted himself to the art of black magic as a means to revive Beatrice-sama. The master loved Beatrice-sama from the bottom of his heart. It was that madness which drove him to do all that you see here.
As Genji-san said this, he spread his arms, as though asking us to look at this room, filled with the signs of grandfather's madness. We were all at a loss for words. Before this, his black magic hobby was nothing more than a creepy little side project, and we just had found it impossible to understand what drove him to devote himself to it. Nobody had tried to understand Kinzo, dismissing him as an eccentric who had restored the Ushiromiya family amidst his madness. All that had been on grandfather's mind was the loss of the woman he loved, and the sorrow of being unable to give up on her. Just a few moments ago, this room had seemed creepy, but in that instance, everything about it started making sense. The creepy books, the magic circles, the medicine, all of it. All just because he wanted to revive one more visage of a single woman who had left this world 30 years ago. The master only told me about Beatrice-sama's story once, when he was very drunk. Although I have forgotten the details, it was a deep, deep love. Enough to make a woman like me jealous.
When Kinzo had succeeded the headship of the Ushiromiya family, his marriage to his wait life.
His wait life? His way flight?
His marriage to his late wife was decided by the few surviving elders of the family.
So, he married a woman who would benefit the Ushiromiya family. Because he was forced to?
That is correct. Kinzo was installed as the head, who would revive the family, and had to bear all the heavy responsibility. I do not pretend to know the details of when or where Kinzo first met Beatrice.
How long is this game? We are in episode 1 of 8. And this is like our 10th stream. This is the first half of this game is like 60 hours on how long to beat. Maybe 70 if you're like reading it slow. And since we take a while to actually read stuff, it's probably a bit longer too. It is a very long thing.
Yeah, I still don't feel bad for Kinzo. He was a jerk. I don't care if this is his tragic backstory. I don't feel bad for him.
Wow, you just don't care about anyone, huh? Cruel, heartless bastard.
I care about Natsuhi. Care about the kids.
Even Maria?
Maria's a creep, but you can grow out of being a creep.
I think that was kind of the problem being presented to Rosa the entire time. Her daughter wasn't growing out of... The 80% is 8 minutes long. What? Hold on. I actually need to check this. Hold on.
Well, you hit auto, and then you just, like, fucking spam the spacebar.
Okay, Umineko Golden Fantasia's speedrun is 8 minutes long, so... Yeah, okay, so it's talking about the fighting game, not the visual novel. That, 'cause if you could speedrun a visual novel that fast, when it's got like all the baked in animations and everything, and like all the sound effects was like, phew, ah, as including all like the level loading and like choosing like the next episodes and stuff, that would be impressive. But still, like 8 minutes to beat an entire fighting game, you gotta be like going ham. Especially because I think it's a tag fighting game too, so it's even longer. Anyways. You go through this?
Yes.
I clicked you once, why?
Good job.
Shut
It'd be rude
the
to
fuck
say any more than
up!
that.
That was when Grandfather truly fell in love for the first time. How deep that affection must have been. It was easy to tell just by looking around us. This room was covered in piles and piles upon things having to do with black magic. And Grandfather had spent day after long day shut in here, immersed in his research and isolated from the outside world, never taking a single day off. You couldn't help but realize how deep Grandfather's love for Beatrice was. I had it all wrong, Genji-san.
What might that be?
I've always thought that maybe you servants blindly believed in the witch because you were influenced by Grandfather's creepy black magic hobby, but that's not how it was. Perhaps they had been acting tough, as though Beatrice's soul had been restored, and existed inside this mansion in order to soothe Grandfather's heart. With closed eyes and expression as though he was remembering something from the distant past, Genji maintained a silence. He probably felt that to confess that would be to betray his one and only master in the most serious way, even though that person was already dead. Beatrice has revived as a witch, and she is in the mansion even now. That was his mantra, what he had believed, and what he had made others believe. And Genji would take that with him to the grave. This might be the one last service he could offer his master. Legend of the Witch, the mysterious Rokkenjima tale that was still whispered amongst the servants. Hold on, wait, hold on. I need to...
Save, yep. Wait, what are you doing?
The Legend of the Gold... Damn it, not exactly, but it was close enough. Close enough. They said it! They said the line! Close enough.
Roll credits.
Hit it! Ba 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 da da da. Da 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 da. Its true nature was a sad lie. No. An act of kindness towards Grandfather, who had lost the person he had loved above all else. I remember denying the witch's existence in front of Father on multiple occasions. Now I understand how much that must have wounded him. Right now, I can understand very well. If I thought I could revive Shannon using black magic, I'd immediately become the next owner of this room and start researching.
Aniki.
Another strand of tears dribbled from George's eyes. Maybe it was infectious. Tears rose to Jessica's eyes too, and she sniffled.
Beatrice told me very soon she'll be able to revive. We'll be able to meet up.
Very soon, the door to the Golden Land will be opened. In that promised land that glitters gold, she'll resurrect all the dead people's souls and revive the love they possessed as well. And I will sleep in a world of peacefulness forevermore.
Did she say that? The Beatrice who gave you the letter? You don't believe, do you?
Maria laughs. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Ha.
Better than nothing.
If only grandfather were here. I'm sure he'd be happy. I'm sure he'd be jumping for joy now that Beatrice is about to be revived. In that case, I'll believe if spending half of his life on research is what brought life back to grandfather, and if believing that the soul of the woman he loved had been resurrected is what enabled him to live to a ripe old age, I'll believe too.
Battler. Fight man.
This is a serious moment, man.
Fight man.
When love for a single woman is persistent over a long time, it is shared by those around you and becomes the truth. Maybe you could say they're just being considerate, but right here, right now, I'd like to call that magic.
It isn't consideration. It really is magic. She's a witch. Ha 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 ha. It looks like nobody can see Beatrice after all.
Some time passed as we listened to the sound of rain. We considered what kind of love and what must have possessed the owner of this room. He spent half his life here. Now, you see what they just did? You see what they just did?
They extolled her name.
They
Little out of
praised her
order.
glorious name.
Little out of order. But my point
And
stands.
the letter was set. Like, the point stands. The condition was met.
Yeah.
Like, she got praised and stuff, so. God damn it, guys. Can't even remember your own, like, murder prophecy that they've been following the entire day.
Seriously, if anyone,
If you-
if any one of these characters had the memory of, like, not a goldfish, they would remember the murder prophecy. It's following the exact words of the murder prophecy.
The letter they were just given by the person following the murder prophecy.
True.
Like, her picture is literally right there.
In fact, it's word for word from the murder prophecy.
Mm-hmm. If you ask me as a woman, then, while I'd like to understand grandfather's feelings of true love, it does leave mother in an awkward position. I agree. Cheating is cheating. No way to make it pretty.
That's also true. Or grandmother.
So, is there any story about a child between Beatrice and grandfather? The keyword Beatrice had been hidden in every corner of this case, so it was natural to suspect some relative of Beatrice.
No. I've not heard anything like that.
If there had been one, I'm sure he would have given them all of his affection in memory of his beloved. Since that didn't happen, and he immersed himself in black magic, maybe we should assume that there was no such child. Come to think of it, this reminds me of a rumor I heard. You know it, right? The story about how grandfather heavily supported a welfare institute called the Gospel House? Enough of that. That is nothing more than slander which would desecrate father.
Tell us, Aunt Nazi. Don't you agree that we shouldn't hide things from each other?
It is a worthless story. Father heavily supported that institute and opened up servant employment positions for them within the house as part of their social studies. Some foolish people started spreading rumors that father had foul motivations. That's all. At one point, there was a rumor that he was collecting sacrifices for his black magic. And since he was actually doing weird experiments and rituals in this room all the time, I half believed it myself.
And who are these servants who came from the Gospel House? There are several, but during the family conference, only Shannon and Canon were scheduled to be here.
To resurrect Beatrice, he had summoned servants from a welfare institute as sacrifices? After all, everyone grandfather selected as servant was young and always about the same age as Shannon or Canon. I'm sure grandfather had some weird inclinations. Jessica! Control your words! When Aunt Nazi scolded her, the atmosphere instantly went sour and everyone fell quiet. However, something was tugging at the back of my mind. Sacrifices. Sacrifices. Sacrifices brought over from the Gospel House. What is it? Freaky words like sacrifice don't pop up often. Yet I've seen or heard that word somewhere recently. Some part of my memory's tugging at me. Come on, Beatrice. What do you know? I had arrived in front of the portrait of Beatrice. It wasn't as vast as the one in the entrance hall, but that portrait, which he must have drawn by some famous painter, was still as intimidating in the smaller size. Below it, just like in the entrance hall, was the epitaph set to point the place where the gold was hidden. The murder prophecy is literally in the room with them. The murder prophecy!
Ah, sacrifices. I said my line.
I know, I clicked it. It's taking a second. What the hell, Battler? You're creeping me out.
Sacrifice. The 6. Ah. Oh, shit.
Both of my eyes opened as wide as plates. Right there, everything had been predicted since the very beginning. Everyone crowded around. And the same expression of terror filled every face. Yes. It was written in the epitaph. On the first twilight. Sacrifice the 6 chosen by the key.
Oh, there's no doubt. 6 people died in the beginning. And even on the shutter, there was a magic circle. A magic circle was drawn. Where the Hebrew was written, it mentioned the offering of sacrifices.
Huh? I've been saying that from the beginning.
That's right. Maria had said it at the very beginning. Right after we found the 6 bodies, when Maria was in the parlor watching TV, she had said it. Ooh,
Ew.
Killer's not human. Just the sacrifices chosen by the key.
This has nothing to do with the location of the hidden gold. It's black magic or something. The instructions for a resurrection ritual. If I remember right, this epitaph requires a large number of deaths.
I mean, it does point to the location of the gold. You just have to ignore the second half. The second half, like this entire first 3 paragraphs is entirely location of the gold.
Yeah.
It's just like, here's what you get if you win. Here's what you get if you fucking lose. And in this corner, your grand prize, you die. You have 7 chances to fucking die and eat shit.
In this corner,
Good
your
luck.
self-worth. In the other corner, your self-doubt. Who will win? It's self-doubt. It's always self-doubt.
It sure does. Even reading through it quickly, it's 6 plus 2 plus 5. 13 people who have to die? How many people are normally on this island? It varies depending on the shifts for the servants, but there's father, my husband, me, and Jessica, and 2 or 3 servants. Today and yesterday there were 5 of them, but there normally aren't that many.
Which means that normally
There wouldn't be enough sacrifices to carry out this ritual. No, wait. There's that rumor that grandfather was collecting servants from the gospel house to be used as sacrifice in some creepy ritual.
So what? He increased the number of servants to increase the number of sacrifices? And waited for the annual family conference when even more people would gather? Isn't now the only time of year that this ritual could be held? When Jessica screamed this, Maria broke out into that creepy laugh, looking truly pleased.
Ha 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 ha. Aren't there some people who make bets to test their fate?
Like throwing a sandal and saying that if it lands right side up, tomorrow will be sunny. Or saying tomorrow will be a good day if the coin lands on heads. There are many little superstitions like that. If you're fed up with nothing going right for you and you happen to roll some dice and get 3 6s, it would probably make you want to believe it's a sign of some miracle. When flipping a sandal, you have at worst a 50% chance. Even if you get it right side up, it's not worth much. But if you carelessly roll 3 dice and they all come up 6, you might think that's a small miracle.
Sorcery works the same way. You keep on praying earnestly, hoping for that impossibly unlikely outcome. Then when the impossible result shows itself, the feelings from those stored up prayers are made incarnate through magic. The sorcery that grandfather was trying to perform was probably like that. The key randomly selected randomly
Maria.
selected sacrifices for a lottery. So to reduce the chance that he himself was selected, he chose the day with the greatest number of people on the island to carry out the ritual. Well, that didn't fucking work.
Yeah. And it's 1 in 18. It was a decent enough odds he would have survived. How ridiculous! Are you saying that all these incidents were part of the process of some questionable magic ritual? Natsuhi yelled. She couldn't stop thinking fearfully about how she might have been protected just because of this scorpion charm. If I hadn't received that charm from Jessica and hung it on my doorknob, would I have been killed just been one of those 6? And the strangest part was, even though I'd hung the charm from the inside of my door, they couldn't get through the door. The killer had noticed the charm from outside the door and had given up trying to open the door. A human couldn't have perceived that. The charm meant to stop someone that was not human had done just that. Impossible. Impossible. Impossible!
However, Nazi-san, look, the epitaph traces the events that followed.
On the second twilight, those who remain shall tear apart the 2 who are close. Could this be talking about Eva-sama and Hideyoshi-sama? Painful as it must be, we must reach that conclusion. After the culprit killed them, they left the words from the third twilight in a letter there.
That's right. After carrying out the second twilight, they left the third twilight in that place. The third twilight is just like Aunt Nazi just read.
On the third twilight, those who remain shall praise my noble name. Now that I've read it, it just keeps going on, doesn't it? On the fourth twilight, gouge the head and kill. Gouge the head and kill. George and Niki's parents were killed with the demon's ice picks gouged into their heads. But if that counted as the second twilight, someone else must be gouged in the head.
That's grandfather. He'd been burned in the incinerator and our eyes were so drawn to that part that we didn't notice, but grandfather's forehead, no, his head had been gouged.
Grandfather is the victim of the fourth twilight? Then, Kanon-kun! On the fifth twilight, gouge the chest and kill. We thought Kanon-kun's case was an unexpected counter with a culprit, but that's wrong. They'd been planning on luring someone out alone and driving something through their chest from the beginning. If the culprit has followed the epitaph this far, Does that mean the 3 people still have to die? On the 6th twilight, gouge the stomach and kill. On the 7th twilight, gouge the knee and kill. On the 8th twilight, gouge the leg and kill. Yes! You could read it that way.
Well, I wonder about that. After those 3 die, it reaches the 9th twilight. Take a look.
On the 9th twilight, the witch revives, and none shall be left alive. We all going to be killed by Beatrice?
I don't get it. Doesn't that mean that everyone will die no matter how many people there are? What was Grandfather's goal? Doesn't this mean that this ritual will kill Grandfather himself no matter what?
Nah, just be built different.
Yeah, I'm built different. I'm not gonna die.
Yeah, that's
It
good. Please
doesn't-
hold still. I've got a stake for your leg.
It doesn't matter.
You got
that
4
no
of them, you
one's
won't
left
notice.
alive. On the 10th twilight, we finally arrive at the Golden Land.
On the 10th twilight, the journey ends, and you shall reach the home of the gold. The witch shall praise the wise, and bestow 4 treasures.
Grandfather wasn't afraid of something like death. Look at the 2nd and 3rd of the 4th treasures.
One resurrects all the dead people's souls. One even revives all the love they possessed. So, Grandfather believed that he would eventually be revived, even if he died partway through this ritual? Ridiculous! That's insane! When you die, it's over, right? The dead don't come back to life. That's a miracle that humanity has been chasing after for thousands of years and still hasn't accomplished. So, it's gotta be something like this, right? Something like, you can
die
revive and
or
meet
you're
them in the world
killed.
after death. Yeah.
If what you say is right, would that mean Grandfather, whose remaining life is slim, and who is insane because of love, is committing suicide? No. A massive forced group suicide?
Genji. Can that possibility be considered?
I do not know. The Master is a man who sometimes has the wisdom to see 1,000 years into the future. However, there are times when that appears to be nothing more than that madness to commoners such as myself.
What? Does that mean yes? What do you say, Kumasawa-san? I don't know anything. No, you can be sure of that. You think I would be on this island today if I did? No? I would have faked an illness or done whatever it took to take a day off. Good gracious, yes. My lumbago's acting up. Can I leave?
I'm sorry.
What about you?
So I have ligma.
Who is Steve Jobs? What about your opinion, Dr. Nanjo? You've been with Grandfather's friend for many years.
I feel the same as Genji-san. Kinzo was a man who far surpassed ordinary people. I've even felt a sort of inhuman power from him at times. Not even I understand what Kinzo-san was thinking when he wrote that epitaph.
All we can say is that even if the person who created this outline was Father, the one carrying it out is a different person.
That's right. At the very best, there's another culprit who attacked Grandfather and Kanon-kun. Furthermore, that person is still continuing the crimes just as the epitaph says.
The letter in the beginning did say that we didn't think... The letter in the beginning that we didn't think too deeply about. What was it that was written there? We thought back to the recitation of the letter last night. Beatrice had proclaimed something in the letter. She had proclaimed that, in accordance with her contract with Kinzo, she would collect everything of the Ushiromiya family as interest. But then she had also revealed a special clause. If someone discovered the location of the gold Grandfather had hidden, that right would be lost. At the time that letter had been read, Grandfather was still alive. but at that time, it was already sealed with wax by the head's ring. Which meant Grandfather had handed over the ring to Beatrice while he was still alive. If you think about it straightforwardly, we should probably take that to mean Beatrice is carrying out that strange contract, and Grandfather is securing her that right. Simply put, it was the same as saying Grandfather knew of and approved of the contents of that letter. In other words, it's as though it was a joint message from Beatrice and Grandfather, telling us that Beatrice will start collecting interest if we don't solve the riddle. In short, Grandfather and Beatrice were telling us to solve the epitaph's riddle. And if we couldn't, they were saying they would kill us all, following the procedure in the epitaph. What meaning is there to that? What do they want? I don't have a clue what it means anymore.
Look, there's another letter from Beatrice.
Huh? What did you say?
Maria was pointing at the top of the table where the canned food that everyone had been eating just now still lay. A Western-style envelope was sitting there, but so what? What? Aunt Natsuhi let out a hysterical cry looking between her own hand and the table. Because the envelope that she had just opened was still grasped in her hand. And despite that, there's still an envelope on the table. What is this? What's going on, Maria? Where did that envelope come from?
Just now. I looked at it and it was lying there. Ugh.
I don't know anything. Anything!
This isn't funny. There's only the 8 of us here. There's no way some 9th person stuck in. There wasn't enough time during the few seconds that we gathered around the portrait, right?
Dun dun dun! Oh boy.
This is an escalation.
Yeah, so... You know, there were supposed to be 3 more deaths. And she's the one carrying the gun now, and they're all trapped in the same room.
Yeah, you don't really survive
Get
being
back!
death shot very often.
What?
Anyways.
Get back! All of you! Back against the wall! Aunt Natsuhi was pointing the rifle at Genji and the others, bellowing at them. Genji-san was overpowered, his face looking like he didn't have a clue what was going on. Of course, I felt the same way, but a few months too late, I reached the same conclusion Aunt Natsuhi had. Until a few seconds ago, there was no letter like this on the table, and nobody had entered this room. That meant someone among us had placed it there during the few seconds when everyone was looking away, preoccupied with the portrait. Hi, TKJ, what did you miss? They locked themselves inside Kinzo's study so that there was only no way they could get in or out. They realized, oh no, they've been killing according to the whole murder prophecy that was stapled on the front door of the building. Surprise, there's now a new letter inside a locked room that should not exist, and now Natsuhi is pointing a gun at everyone and saying, back the fuck up. Battler-kun, open that envelope and read what's inside.
Sure.
I picked up the envelope. It was still sealed with wax. Even without disturbing the contents, I realized that this was an unopened envelope, an unknown envelope. Without relying on a letter opener, I violently tore it open and pulled out the letter inside. The contents were as followed.
Are you enjoying the riddle of
Do you want-
Kinzo-san's epitaph? As you are all probably aware, you have very little time remaining. Please abandon any naive hopes of escaping after the storm passes. This game can only end with my victory or yours. When time runs out, I will win by default. There will be no ties. There will be no ties. Make sure that you do not misunderstand your current situation.
Woo!
That's what it says.
It isn't clear who put this letter there. However, I have been able to narrow down the list of suspects. It's all of you!
Yo, yeah, that narrows it down a lot, Natsuhi.
That's just too horrible. Just before I moved to the portrait, I set a can of food down here. At that time, there wasn't anything strange as this letter here. And at that time, Jessica, George-kun, and Battler-kun were already in front of the portrait. And they didn't leave the spot in front of the portrait until the letter appeared. So the person who set that letter down is one of you four. Beatrice is one of you.
Hey, maybe not the kid. Maybe don't shoot the kid.
So you know how I said asked you how they would get the other four out of the room if they were all locked in? The option you're forgetting is, what if they just went in the room with them and locked themselves in?
Well, yeah.
The easiest way to get through the locked room, you were going like, oh yeah, how would you get them out? Like, simple, be in there with them and make them leave. Like, you're trying to find other ways to get around. That's not as easy as just being in the room already.
I guess.
You were stepping way too far.
We can rule out Maria. I don't feel like she could commit those murders by herself.
Are you sure though?
I'm pretty sure.
We know she's definitely a fucking accomplice. She's definitely part involved.
Probably, but the way I think is, yeah, that's a child, and I could easily overpower a child. Most adults could easily overpower a child.
Okay. But, say all this magic that she's been spouting actually does exist. What if she casts some magic at you and you just get fucked? Natsuhi's the one holding the gun, not you.
There's no magic.
Okay. If you're sure.
The only one old enough to be Beatrice at this point is Kumasawa, and nah.
Ew. We aren't Beatrice. Beatrice exists.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's being so... You're seeing blatantly stuff that could absolutely just be supernatural shit happening. And just nah, magic ain't exists. Silence! I don't know whether I suspect one of you or all of you. But without a doubt, at least one among you is the culprit. That's right! There can't be a 19th person. There's no way witches exist. Even when Kanon-kun was killed. Yeah, that could be explained if Kumasawa-san was the one who did it. The truth is that Kumasawa-san entered the boiler room with Kanon-kun and killed him. And then she lied, saying she had already fallen when she got there. You're making a mistake, m'lady. Why would I do something like that? I don't have the slightest any idea how my parents were killed in that locked room, but when they were killed, everyone except for the servants had an alibi. The only ones who didn't were the servants, but is it really correct to suspect them?
Well, now that you mention it, they do have no alibi for any of the cases, but...
Should be really be so quick to make that judgment? But this time, in this room, in this place, in this moment, in this minimally small bit of time and space, it's obvious. Only one of the four of them could have set the letter out there in our blind spot. We can't tell who put it there, but it's obvious that one of the four did it.
Natsuhi-san, please calm yourself. A lot has happened today. I understand that the condition of your heart is in right now.
Dr. Nanjo, it truly pains me to call you suspicious. However, as father's personal doctor and his closest friend, you have been by his side for many years. You might know about Beatrice as well. Could you be hiding some kind of old personal connection of his?
Of course not. Calm yourself.
It was pitiful to watch Dr. Nanjo frantically pleading his innocence. It was probably a normal reaction that anyone would give if they were suspected. Kumasawa was the same. Since Jessica started suspecting her of the murder of Kanon, she was now totally flustered. That was why Genji's still calm appearance looked so bold. Aunt Natsuhi pointed the barrel of the gun. Genji, You were father's number one subordinate. Was Beatrice a fantasy you showed to father, with you as the performer?
If by suspecting me you recognize me as Master's greatest servant, then it is a great honor to me, regardless of the circumstances. However, I am not the one who put the letter there.
Do you expect me to just accept that? You must be the ringleader. Maybe Kumasawa and Dr. Naja were your accomplices. And you, too, Maria-chan. Not content to doubt the adults, Aunt Natsuhi pointed the gun relentlessly at Maria, too. But Maria acted as though nothing had happened. Or maybe she thought she would be fine if she was shot. Maria-chan, by this point we can no longer remove someone from suspicion just because they are young. So for the last time, let me ask the question that everyone's brought to you since last night. Yesterday, who was the Beatrice that handed you the letter? Maria, don't try to fool us! Make it clear, who the hell gave you that letter?
Maria laughs. How many times do I have to tell you? It's Beatrice. The 1,000-year-old golden witch. If you want to know what she looks like, just turn around. See? She's right there. Beatrice is.
Maria laughs.
You think this is just some game, you little bitch?
Stop it, Jessica. Maria, too. Don't you understand the situation? What are you hoping to gain by saying stuff like that? Stop stirring each other up pointlessly.
I don't understand. Why do you people want to see the culprit? You only believe in Beatrice when you don't want to doubt one of your own. And when you're trying to settle a grudge because someone who's close to you has been killed, only then do you want to believe in a human culprit. Who can you attack with violence and deny Beatrice? That is why you can't see her. Beatrice exists. You all can't see her.
Silence! I don't want to label you as the culprit, but there is no longer any doubt that you enjoy making the situation unpleasant, serving the interests of the enemy.
Maria laughs.
Then what will you do? Shoot me? I don't mind. Very soon the door to the Golden Land will be open. Then all the dead will be resurrected. Right now, death is nothing to be afraid of.
Maria laughs.
Mom, she really is suspicious. We can't stay with her. Natsuhi, please calm down. There's no reason to shoot Maria-chan. Please, remain composed. The letter was meant to provoke us, but it's nothing to be afraid of. Even the... Ow.
Bless you.
Thanks. Even the culprit is scared. Scared of tomorrow. Scared of the police. Right now, this island is free from the reach of the law, but that's only because it's isolated by this typhoon. Once the typhoon passes, the law will return. So, you mustn't shoot. How can you stay so calm, George Nissan? One of these four is the culprit. Maybe all four of them are all working together. How can you stay so calm when one of these four might be the culprit that killed your parents? Even if I have the desire to find the culprit and kill them. But that would be simple barbarism. I will leave the judgments of crimes to the law. No matter how suspicious they are, you mustn't pull that trigger.
I feel the same as Jordaniki and Natsuhi. Get a hold of yourself for a second. Anyway, it'd be bad to shoot. Up.
Yeah, you got more lines.
Got. In times like this, I hear you should tilt your head back and stay cool. And say stay cool 3 times.
Let me make this clear. Witches don't exist. Not on Rokkenjima, not in the Ushiromiya mansion. I declare it as Ushiromiya Natsuhi, representative of the Ushiromiya family. There is no witch here. I won't accept Beatrice. No matter what you're planning, I won't let you lay one finger on my daughter or the rest of them. That is my duty as a mother and a representative to the family. Those words were the final words of farewell that settled everything. To protect her daughter, Aunt Natsuhi would regard any suspicious person as an enemy. The only reason George, Nikki, and I were standing on this side was because, by coincidence, we had a clear alibi regarding the letter. If we hadn't approached the portrait, I too may have been on the other end of that gun barrel, being treated like a criminal. But even though part of me thought that, part of me was thinking that chasing all of our suspicious people away from this room would finally guarantee our safety. Genji-san, Kumasawa-san, and Dr. Nanjo, all of them were on grandfather's side. You could even say Marie was on grandfather's side since she had a blind belief in Beatrice. That's right. They were all suspicious. But is this really alright? Is it really alright for us to fight back against the lawlessness of the witch by throwing out all the suspicious ones without due process?
The music is pretty good.
Yeah, really good song. Really good just soundtrack in general. I see why he called this a sound novel, because this game has actually exceptional voice acting we're butchering all the time. Like we're just saying, instead of just saying like, Maria laughs in like a robotic dead voice, we actually get proper fucking...
I'm sorry that I'm not a little girl.
You get shit like...
ならどうするの？マリアを撃つ？
And you're just clearly not trying. You could be a little girl if you tried. Just not putting in any of the effort. SMH.
That would take actual years of hormone therapy.
Or you
and
could just try
vocal
going
training.
You could just try going falsetto.
My falsetto does not sound good. I have told you this. You know this.
We don't need an evil, creepy laugh to sound good. Aunt Natsuhi didn't tell them to leave with her own words.
Case, hit them with the... Oh.
That didn't even make it through. Sorry, he doesn't want to do another version of the voice of Toad, the Voice Destroyer. But wordless Fisher, she was indicating to them to say that themselves. So if Dr. Najo hadn't said those words, the cold silence would surely have continued forever.
Calm yourself, Natsuhi-san. But I understand your feelings well. I myself feel like there's been something wrong with my head after all these strange repeated incidents. So I understand well why you want to suspect us.
If you have really nothing to do with this, I would think what I was doing is beyond rude. However, please understand, just this once.
I understand. Let's leave the room. What do you say, Genji-san? Shall we return to the parlor and continue our chess game? If that is what you wish, by all means.
I don't want to. I mean, that means we'll have to leave this room knowing the wolf is among us. Among us. Sus. I don't fucking care about these jokes anymore. They're falling apart because we're repeating them too much. Madam, please, forgive me. What Kumasawa-san was trying to say made total sense. If she was innocent, then she was being ejected into dangerous territory along with the culprit. God fucking damn. In the current situation, pressing her to leave this room along with the rest of the suspect was almost exactly the same as letting her get killed. However, Kumasawa-san really was suspicious just for being the first one to discover that Kanon-kun had been murdered. At that time, everyone except for Kumasawa-san had an alibi. As long as the use of some trick or the existence of some 19th person could not be established, Kumasawa-san was the one most likely to be suspected by far. I didn't want to believe it. However, Aunt Natsuhi and the rest of us were in such a difficult situation that we couldn't help doubting any of them, Kumasawa-san included. So, we didn't say anything to stop Aunt Natsuhi from trying to oppressively chase them from the room. We had stopped her from shooting, but when it came to exiling from the room, we were passively agreeing. Maria spoke to the still fretful Kumasawa-san.
You'll be alright. Beatrice is kind to those who respect her.
What the fuck, dude?
You believe that Beatrice exists. So, I'm sure you'll be fine. I'm gonna go watch TV in the parlor. Let's watch it together. This place has no TV and it's boring. Ha 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 ha.
It looked like Kumasawa-san had found Maria's roguish laugh very terrifying. However, the three other people had agreed to leave the room. Kumasawa couldn't fight the flow and had to agree, crying as she left the room.
I wouldn't have kicked out the child. Well then, Natsuhi-san. I shall leave you for tonight. Let us meet again tomorrow.
Yes. Please understand, at least for tonight. When the police come, I will promise to apologize to all of you for my rudeness. You may play chess, but do it in a safe place if you can. Genji, I leave it to you.
Certainly.
Also, you not kicking out the child is exactly why you're built stupid and you would die.
Like I said, I could overpower a 9-year-old.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Sure. You think all three of these adults could overpower a 9-year-old too?
Yes. My point is, if the 9-year-old was the killer, why would she be, like, very obvious about it? The 9-year-old's the red herring.
Or is she?
All right, Case, I need you to look me in my dead horse eyes and tell me, do you think that you as a person could get killed by stabbing? Like, you could get stabbed by a 9-year-old.
Oh no, a child murderer. I'm gonna get you. Thanks to get you.
My legs are longer than most of 9-year-olds reach.
Mm-hmm. And, so tell me how many of these actual murders we've seen could have been done by just getting stabbed, like, just from, like, a reach from a 9-year-old and not, like, something else going on. Because Cannon's was just fucking either thrown at him or, like, he just sucked at actually hitting someone. But Maria was in the parlor, so we can ignore her for that.
Are you telling me that a 9-year-old could stab someone in the head to the hilt with a blade like that through the thickest part of their skull?
I am telling you that if you're just brushing it aside because she's young or magic doesn't exist, you're gonna be caught up in, like, a lot of, like, you're cutting away too many theories that way. Just on, like, a base assumption.
I'm saying that she's not the killer. Whether or not she's involved is still up in the air. I'm just saying that from, like, a practical, logical perspective, that 9-year-old is not strong enough to perform some of those things.
Alright. Do you read this line? I forget. Before we started this.
I already read it, yeah.
Oh, it can't be helped, can it? They always say the most frightening bears are those with cubs. Genji Kumasawa, my sincere apologies. Let us... Fuck. Let us meet again tomorrow.
Yeah.
I accidentally clipped it out of the game. Maria-chan, too. Please forgive your cold aunt.
I forgive. May
Man, wouldn't it be fucked up if it was Natsuhi and she just killed the three of them?
Man.
Like these people leave the room, the door shuts, and she turns to George, shoots him in the stomach, shoots Jessica in the knee, and then Bella in the leg.
See, the only reason I will give you for, like, it's probably not Natsuhi is narrative structure.
Yeah, narrative structure would make no sense, but it'd be fucked up if it was.
Yeah, it would be fucked if it was, but, like, one of the, like, actual, like, fundamental tenets of a murder mystery is you can't be, like, given the actual internal thoughts of the murderer.
Nope.
So we've already been given, like, at least for Natsuhi there, like, several instances where she's just alone. We can hear her thought process and everything, so...
Yep, Natsuhi and Battler are in the clear. Everyone else...
Well, we had Ava and Hideyoshi. They were in the clear, and then they were in the ground.
They were in the clear, and they were stabbed.
Yeah, in the face.
In the head.
Genji-san pulled the 2 golden keys from his pocket and handed them to Aunt Natsuhi.
And I will also hand over my bundle of keys to the inside of the mansion.
He took out a bundle of about 10 keys of various shapes and handed it over. To the servants, those keys were probably the proof of their position. Being placed in charge of those keys meant they were trusted, relied upon. Being forced to return them meant that they had lost that trust. Thinking about it that way, there could have been no greater humiliation for Genji-san, who had served here for all these years. However, his usual indifferent expression remained on his face. Genji, I had planned that after father passed away, I would reward you for your many years of hard work and allow you to retire, and yet, I am treating you like this. It makes me feel ashamed from the bottom of my heart.
I've already received Master's favor. Everything I've done until today has been in repayment for that. Please, do not worry over it. Well then, shall we, everyone? Good night to you all.
Ooh, night night, Battler. Night night. White man too. Night night. Maria, wait a sec.
Guilt made me call Maria back. I groped around in my pocket and took out that scorpion key holder.
This repels magic, right? Keep it on you.
Didn't you say you dropped it?
Back then, I was kind of pissed off, and I was just bluffing that I'd lost it. There's no way I'd lose your precious charm.
Maria silently took the charm. I was unable to say anything after that.
Well then, everyone, good night to you.
Unable to respond, we watched them leave, our expressions completely tired out. How are you feeling, by the way, time-wise?
Pretty good. How much more do we have?
Like one more chapter after this.
We might have to do that next time.
Yeah, we might have to do that Sunday, and then, since it won't be Velvet's birthday, we might be able to get her in for the end.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And until the door closed and we headed back, we heard the auto lock, we were unable to even draw our next breath. Then, when I was finally allowed to take a breath, I noticed Beatrice's letter, which I had been gripping the whole time, and which was soaked with my sweat, actually had 2 sheets. The paper had been tightly stuck together, so I had mistakenly thought there was only one. Da 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 da!
Oh shit, we need Maria.
Yeah, I will wait till... fine. I'll wait till, like, next time and then explain that magic circle. There was nothing written on the second sheet. The thing that was drawn on there was a magic circle written in red ink like blood. Just like how every magic circle up until then had been different, this magic circle was one that I had never laid eyes upon. Inside this circle was a large triangle with a small triangle where to fit together in a simple design. But just as before, there was writing in Hebrew, and it seemed clear that it held some kind of meaning. I wanted to know what it could be, but we had just chased Maria, the only person who could understand the meaning of those magic circles, out of the room. Well, Link is dead. Matt Pat knew it. Ah, damn. I didn't know Link died in the Rokkenjima Murders. I thought of the magic circles as a second set of messages from Beatrice. What does this one mean? Damn it. We've chased out all the suspicious people. Now all we have to do is stay barricaded here until morning. And then, will everything be over? Once the typhoon passed, when the seagulls cry, will everything be resolved?
When Umineko no Koro
When the
no
Umineko no Naku Koro ni! But the letter had unexpectedly appeared in the study, had rejected that naivety. It had made me clear that if time ran out, it would mean victory for the witch. When the time runs out, is the witch planning to take on the offensive? Is she, finally, planning to display some fearful magical powers? Or maybe something that could have been used to kill 6 adults at once? Wait, when is time supposed to run out? I don't know anything. Now, we should finally be safe. Finally. Definitely. Even as she said that, Aunt Nazi couldn't stop gripping that rifle. There was no release in her expression, of tension of her expression. Of course, none of us felt like breathing a sigh of relief yet. At least not until we could hear the Umineko no Naku Koro ni once more. And that's the chapter.
Yep. So I have a recommendation for a raid.
Yeah, Yuma.
And no, because I don't think Yuma's streaming. I didn't see the notification.
I thought she posted that like Yuri Friday was happening.
Oh, yeah, there it is. I didn't see it, so
Who was your suggestion going to be?
Little Cup of Joe. She's a voice actress that I've been following for a while.
Okay. We usually raid you.
But if
Let's try.
Yeah.
Alright. In that case, while I'm waiting for the ad to close, before we go, what do you think that magic circle was intended to do?
I have no fucking clue. I can't read Hebrew.
Okay, based on the context of how everything happened with there, because there was context like just if you could infer based on how the other magic circles worked. The first one was something about sacrifices, and then you saw the 6 sacrifices on the other side.
Yeah.
The second one was
about unlocking
bypassing a
doors.
locked door before
So I
presenting a locked
wonder
door.
if this one is about separating people.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Like anything further than that, or just like
Nope.
just separating people? Okay.
Yep.
Then we will find out next time, which should be Sunday, because tomorrow I am going to be on ELH Mark 1's channel doing an Avatar The Last Airbender one-shot RPG tabletop session with Yuma Yamano, Nitori, and Choco Jax. So that'll be fun, and that'll be at 4 o'clock Central Time. Whatever the heck time that means for the rest of you. 2 o'clock, I think, yours, Soundwave.
Yep, 2 o'clock PST.
Yep. So that'll be my stream for the day, but I will try to like host if I can, unless Twitch depreciated that feature. But until then, let us go raid Shadow Legends Cup of Joe.
What? Shadow Legends? No. She should have 4 viewers in playing Radiant Historia. Literal
That's
Cup of
not
Joe.
the
Yep,
joke
there
I
it
was
is.
going for. We are going to raid Shadow Legends then.
Alright.
We are going to raid Space Shadow. Don't make me explain my joke. That ruins it.
Oh. Anyways,
I don't know, locked room raid or something.
locked room raid.
That'll work. Yeah. Again, thanks for stopping by. We will be back Sunday and maybe we'll have Velvet back for like the finale. But
True.
so she looks like the Little Cup of Joe's playing Radiant Historia. Ooh, that's a good RPG.
Which might. Oh, that's an RPG.
Yeah.
Huh. I was
What'd
gonna
you think
say,
it was?
She also plays a lot of Otome games.
No, it's not Notome. It's an RPG.
All right.
Anyway, we will see you all next time. Bye.
Let's see if